Chapter 3028. With the circulation of Sun Jingyi's mental cultivation method, Little 11 pierced a silver needle into the meridians in Sun Jingyi's chest. Ah! Jingyi couldn't help but cry out in pain. In that instant, Jingyi felt as if the energy in her body was boiling, and she was no longer under the guidance and control of her practitioner's arts. Sun Jingyi subconsciously stopped the circulation of the mental cultivation method, but this did not matter. The silver needle in Sun Jingyi's chest also directly bounced out. Little 11 was concentrating on the acupuncture, so he did not pay attention to it. The silver needle directly shot into Little 11's arm, immediately cutting a wound on Little 11's arm. "Fuck your mother, bitch." Little 11 was instantly angry. She kicked at Sun Jingyi, and it happened to hit Sun Jingyi's lower abdomen. Sun Jingyi screamed in pain and knelt on the ground unnaturally. However, Little 11 was not satisfied. She kicked at Sun Jingyi's chest. "You motherfucker, how dare you stab me? I'll kick your boobs until they burst." It had to be said that Little 11 was very vicious. She was also a woman, so she knew which parts of a woman were more vulnerable. She was stabbed by Sun Jingyi, so she crazily retaliated against Sun Jingyi. "That's enough, junior sister. Let's get down to business. Don't kill her." Little 1 frowned and had to stop Little 11 from continuing. If she kicked Sun Jingyi to death, what would happen to Taganlong? Only then did Little 11 stop. However, when she saw that Sun Jingyi was still lying on the ground, she could not help but kick her again. "Hurry up and get up. I didn't use my true energy just now. Don't pretend to be dead." Sun Jingyi was not a cultivator and did not have true energy to protect her body. It could only be said that her body was slightly stronger than ordinary people, but even so, blood still flowed from the corner of her mouth after being kicked by Little 11. She climbed up from the ground with great difficulty. The silver needle connected to Taganlong in Sun Jingyi's hand had already fallen. Little 11 unceremoniously pulled Sun Jingyi's hand over and directly connected the silver needle to Taganlong's hand. Taganlong was unconscious and did not feel anything, but Sun Jingyi was very sad, especially when Little 11 twisted the silver needle on Sun Jingyi's finger back and forth. This way, Sun Jingyi was in even more pain. However, with the previous lesson, even if Sun Jingyi was in pain, she could only grit her teeth and hold on. Thinking of Han Jingjing's miserable appearance, Sun Jingyi lamented. It seemed that she could not live in one piece after falling into Little 11's hands. However, for Lin Yi's sake, Sun Jingyi had to endure it. She endured the pain and began to circulate the mantra again. As Little 1's silver needle was inserted into Sun Jingyi's chest again, Sun Jingyi screamed, but she did not dare to stop the circulation of the mantra. "Go fuck yourself." Little 11 slapped Jingyi's face with his palm, and the sound of a slap rang out. Sun Jingyi took the slap, but she did not dare to make a sound, nor did she dare to resist. She did not even dare to stop the circulation of the mantra. Otherwise, what awaited her would be an even more serious beating. "All right, junior sister, let's get down to business. If you hit her like this, if she stops the circulation of the mantra, we will have to start all over again," Little 11 dissuaded. Little 11 nodded. How could she not know this? However, she hit Sun Jingyi entirely out of instinctive jealousy. She was jealous that Sun Jingyi was prettier and had a better figure than her. She wanted to torture Sun Jingyi and torture Sun Jingyi to death. But thinking of her father's plan, Little 11 continued to insert the needles, ignoring Sun Jingyi's screams. Instead, she inserted the silver needles into Sun Jingyi's body one after another. Every time she inserted the silver needles, Sun Jingyi screamed. Sun Jingyi only felt that the vital energy in her body was not under her control at all. Instead, it was circulating according to Little 11's acupuncture. Suddenly, Sun Jingyi felt that the vital energy in her body seemed to be pulled out by a strong force from her palm and transported to the Tagan dragon's body. In theory, the vital energy in Sun Jingyi's body could not be used by Tagan dragon. However, under Little 11's guidance, it could enter the Tagan dragon's body. This surprised Sun Jingyi and made the pain of the night wind feel as if a part of her body was being stripped out. Sun Jingyi's face paled instantly, and her body trembled uncontrollably. It was as if she was on the verge of death, But little Eleven's needles didn't show any signs of stopping. He continued to move the needles around Sun Jingyi's body, his hands moving all over her body. Targanlong's pale face, on the other hand, was slowly turning red. Jingyi's pure energy was clearly working on him. Seeing this situation, a smile appeared on the corner of little Eleven's mouth. She encouraged little 11. Junior sister, continue to work hard. The Tagan dragon is getting better. Little 11 nodded. She could not care less about torturing Sun Jingyi at this moment. Compared to her, the Tagan dragon was more important. However, even if she was not deliberately torturing Sun Jingyi was already in great pain. The pain brought about by this secret technique was inhuman torture. One could imagine what it felt like to have all the blood in a person's body drawn out. Sun Jingyi felt as if the blood in her body was being drawn out. While she was in pain, her life seemed to be gradually fading away. Little 11 glanced at Sun Jingyi. She was afraid that she could not hold on any longer, so she said to little 1, eldest senior brother, give her the energy recovery pill and the small rejuvenation pill. Okay. Little 1 quickly took out a bottle, poured out 2 pills, and stuffed them directly into Sun Jingyi's mouth. The whole process of activating the healing pill would last 4 to 5 hours. If Sun Jingyi died in the middle of it, all the previous efforts would be wasted. Little 1 and little 11 only knocked out the important figures of House Sun, but the servants of House Sun did not care. In their eyes, these people were worse than ants. They were microbes, and killing them would dirty their hands. However, there was a core servant of House Sun who knew Wu Chuntian's phone number. So, after House Sun was in trouble, he called Wu Chuntian's number. Hello. Hello, I'm Wu Chuntian. Who are you looking for? It was an unfamiliar number, so Wu Chuntian asked politely after picking up the phone. Chapter 3029. Who are you? Chuntian asked curiously. Mr. Wu, I'm House Sun's housekeeper, Sun Hooper. House Sun is in trouble. 2 masters came out of nowhere and injured young Master Sun and knocked out House Sun's head. They're doing something to Miss Sun Jingyi. I think they're forcing her to heal one of them. Steward Sun explained the situation to Chuntian. Chuntian panicked. He didn't know if Sun Jingyi's arts could be forcefully used to heal others, but it seemed like Sun Jingyi's life was in danger. He could hear Sun Jingyi's screams through the phone. I'll be right there. Chuntian said quickly. Wait, Mr. Wu, these 2 people seem to be heaven stage experts. Steward Sun was a cultivator and also cultivated some real mental cultivation methods. He was not a member of the Sun family, so he did not cultivate the Sun family's mental cultivation methods. But when little 1 and little 11 fought, he was quite far away and could only roughly judge that they were heaven-rank powerhouses. What? Are they all heaven stage experts? Chuntian was startled. He wanted to save Sun Jingyi by himself, but he was stunned when he heard that they were Sky Class. He had just reached Earth Class late phase peak not long ago, and he was full of confidence. Steward Sun's words were like a bucket of cold water splashed on him, making him realize that he wasn't a match for them. He had to ask for help. But who could he ask for help from? Lin Yi was far away in Star Mountain Village, and Old Pai and Old Zhuang weren't nearby. It would take some time for them to get to Sun Jingyi's town, so Chuntian could only inform them first and head there himself. With that thought, Chuntian called Old Pai and Old Zhuang, telling them to go help. He then called Lin Yi. Chuntian, what's wrong? Lin Yi didn't expect something to happen to his family. He picked up the phone and asked casually. Boss, it's bad, something happened. Chuntian said urgently, Boss, House Sun is surrounded by 2 Sky Class masters, and Sun Jingyi's life is in danger. I need to get there immediately. You need to come back too, boss. What? Sky Class 2? Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat. This definitely wasn't done by the hidden sects. There were limited Sky Class masters in the hidden sects, and House Zhao was done for. Only Old Yu and Old Yu weren't on his side, but these 2 had no reason to do anything to Sun Jingyi. House Yu helped Lin Yi a few days ago, so there was no reason for them to attack. As for House Yu, even if they didn't want to attack Lin Yi, why would they attack Sun Jingyi? Not only would it not be of any use, it wouldn't be able to vent their anger, and it would attract even more revenge from Lin Yi. The first thing Lin Yi would do when he came back would be to destroy the hidden house Yu. From what happened with the hidden house Zhao, it could be seen that old Yu was different from old Zhao. He wasn't a stubborn person, and he knew when to bow down to Lin Yi. From this point, it was impossible for old Yu to do it. But other than the hidden house Yu and house Yu, who else could send 2 sky-class masters? Could it be the ancient level? But why would the ancient level attack a common house? There was no reason at all. It wasn't that Lin Yi didn't think about the 5 Elements sect, but when Little 1 and Little 11 came last time, they let Sun Jingyi go and didn't attack her. One could imagine that Sun Jingyi was just a small fry in their eyes, and there was no need for her to come to Donghai City to cause trouble for House Sunday. So, Lin Yi couldn't figure out where this enemy came from at all. But the more it was like this, the more worried Lin Yi was. That's right, boss. The housekeeper of House Sun didn't say how strong they are, so I can only go and see. I'll go now, Chen Tian said as he ran out of the villa, not even having the time to send a message to Meng Yaro and Yushu who were in school. Okay, be careful, I'll go now. Lin Yi said immediately, if Jingyi's life isn't in danger, don't do anything. You can't handle a sky-class master. Okay, boss, Chen Tian replied. He walked out the door and was about to get in the car when he saw Hua Mingyun sitting not far away. Chen Tian's eyes lit up. Wasn't there a ready-made heaven-ranked fighter? With that thought, Chen Tian quickly waved at Hua Mingyun. Hey, Hua Mingyun, right? Yeah. Wu bro, what's up? Hua Mingyun was bored out of his wits these past few days. The chi here was very thin, and he couldn't train, and no one talked to him. He was bored out of his wits, but he didn't dare disrespect Lin Yi's family and friends. He could only draw circles on the ground out of boredom. As for Chen Tian, he already knew who he was just a disciple of House Wu, but he'd been with Lin Yi for a long time. If he were to call Lin Yi his boss like Tuoba, it'd be normal for him to call Chen Tian Wu bro boss's woman. Sun Jingyi is in trouble. Do you want to go with me? Chen Tian asked. Sure. Let's go. Hua Mingyun was bored out of his mind, especially since he could help Lin Yi. Naturally, he wouldn't decline. Only by building a good relationship with Lin Yi could he take revenge on the everyday sec. Hua Mingyun patted his butt and got in Chen Tian's car, speeding towards House Sun City. Lin Yi, on the other hand, said goodbye to old Lin after hanging up the phone, got on the purple lightning beast, and sped off in the direction of House Sun. It was a good thing that Lin Yi had brought the purple thunderbolt beast with him this time. Otherwise, who knew how long it would take to get to House Sunday? The purple thunderbolt beast, on the other hand, was an Earth-class late-phase peak. Its speed was faster, but Lin Yi was still worried. Little Feng, hurry up, time is of the essence. Although they were already very fast, Lin Yi still patted the purple electric beast and urged. Roar! The purple lightning beast seemed to have sensed the danger, and used all its strength to run. It was even faster than when it came. Chapter 30. From the looks of it, the speed of the purple electric tempest beast was fixed. From this, it could be seen that its physical strength was fixed as well. The more it used in the beginning, the less it used in the later stages. It was the same as an ordinary person. When it erupted, it would only last for a short period of time. Xiao Feng, are you running out of qi? Lin Yi suddenly thought of a possibility, so he quickly asked. Roar. The purple electric beast heard Lin Yi's words and quickly nodded to show that it was true. Okay, then I'll help you replenish it. Lin Yi confirmed his idea. He placed his hands on the purple electric beast's body and then began to circulate the 3rd stage of the art of dragon mastery that he had just learned but wasn't particularly familiar with. Although Lin Yi still couldn't master the 3rd stage of the mantra, even so, the difference between the 3rd stage and the 2nd stage was like heaven and earth. Now, he could already surpass the state of the 2nd stage. Whether it was the amount of qi transferred or the speed, it was a notch higher. Lin Yi didn't use the heavenly spring rain martial arts technique. Instead, he directly chose to use the 3rd stage of the art of dragon mastery to transfer qi. This was also because spiritual beasts and cultivators were different. When Tian Chan didn't use the mantra, Lin Yi couldn't transfer qi to her. He could only heal her injuries. But spiritual beasts were different. They didn't have mantras and automatically absorbed qi. Therefore, Lin Yi wanted to try whether it was feasible when it was moving. After all, after using the heavenly spring rain, it would really consume Lin Yi's own qi. If he encountered an enemy during this period, Lin Yi would be at a disadvantage. But the art of dragon mastery was different. Lin Yi only played the role of a conductor, transforming the endless energy in the space of the jade and then transferring it to the purple electric beast. It didn't affect Lin Yi's own strength at all. With the third stage of Lin Yi's art of dragon mastery, endless energy was transferred to the purple electric beast's body. The purple electric beast quickly recovered its qi and increased its speed to the limit again. Roar roar, the purple electric tempest beast only felt that its entire body was filled with inexhaustible strength. Lin Yi heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that the purple electric tempest beast's speed had recovered. At its current speed, it would probably take another 2 hours or so to reach the sun residence. Since the purple thunderbolt beast was traveling in a straight line, it didn't care if there was a road in front of it. Even if there were mountains, rivers, or houses, it would still be able to fly over them. The purple thunderbolt beast's qinggong was quite impressive. Chen Tian brought Hu Yangyun to Hao's son, and before the car even got close, they heard Sun Jingyi's screams. In this area, Hao's son had its own house, and there were no other families nearby. So no matter how much Sun Jingyi screamed, no one would be able to hear it. Sun Jingyi's screams tugged at Chen Tian's heartstrings. Although he had given up on pursuing Sun Jingyi, he still liked Sun Jingyi. Now that she was with Lin Yi, Chen Tian could only pray silently and give up on this thought. But Sun Jingyi's screams still made his eyes turn red, and his rage soared. Whether it was the person he loved, or his sister-in-law, they were both being tortured. Chen Tian couldn't take it anymore. Just when Chen Tian stopped the car and was about to get off, Hu Yangyun, who was sitting in the passenger seat, grabbed his arm. "Don't be rash, there's a Sky-class early phase peak and a Sky-class late phase peak. I'm not their match." Hu Yangyun shook his head. "What? There's a Sky-class late phase peak?" Chen Tian jumped in fright. From what he could see, the two Sky-class masters Steward's son was talking about were at most early phase or early phase peak, and Hu Huiyun was a late phase Sky-class. That was more than enough to deal with. Even Elder Pai and Elder Zhuang wouldn't be able to do much, but what he didn't expect was that even a Sky-class late phase peak would show up. Hu Yangyun was a Sky-class late phase peak, and Yushu couldn't see through his strength at all. She only told Lin Yi that he was Sky-class late phase peak, but that wasn't the case. "That's right, I'll probably get beaten up if I go in." Hu Yangyun was hesitant. He was here to ask for Lin Yi's help. He didn't want to lose his life before he could help. Most importantly, Lin Yi hadn't said anything yet, and if he went in and helped like an idiot, what if he died? Wouldn't he die for nothing? With that thought, Hu Yangyun really didn't know if he should go in or not. "We still have to go in. If we don't, what about Jingyi?" Chen Tian was panicking. "Don't stop me if you're afraid of death." "Wu bro, don't be rash." Hu Yangyun patted Chen Tian's shoulder. "Going in blindly will only get us killed. We need to think of a plan. You don't want Miss Sun to be in trouble if we die, do you?" "I." Chen Tian paused, his expression returning to normal. The panic on his face was suppressed as well. Yes, Lin Yi did tell him to be careful on the phone, that he wasn't their match, and that if Sun Jingyi's life wasn't in danger, then he shouldn't act rashly. "Wu bro, should we make a plan?" Hu Yangyun was thinking of calling Tuo Yangwang and asking him what he thought. Tuo Yangwang was closer to Lin Yi than he was, so at least Tuo Yangwang wouldn't screw him over. "I'll call boss first." Chen Tian nodded and dialed Lin Yi's number. "Chen Tian, what's the situation?" Lin Yi wanted to call Chen Tian as well, but he was afraid that Chen Tian was already fighting with the two masters from House Sun, and calling would affect him. "Boss, I'm here. Sister-in-law's screaming is making my heart explode. Hu Yangyun is here too, but he said that Lin Yi has a Sky-class early phase peak and a Sky-class late phase peak. He's the one at Sky-class late phase, we're not his match." Chen Tian said bitterly. "Sky-class late phase peak?" Lin Yi was in a dilemma after hearing Chen Tian's words. Why would a Sky-class late phase peak go to House Sun? What were they trying to do? After a while, Lin Yi asked, "Chen Tian, is Jingyi in danger?" Chapter 30-31. If that's the case, then don't risk your lives and charge in you're no match for them. Wait for me. To be honest, Lin Yi didn't have the slightest confidence when he said those words. After all, the opponent was a Sky-class late-phase peak master. But no matter what, Lin Yi could only brace himself and charge forward. Then. Okay. Chen Tian still had to listen to Lin Yi. He knew that he wasn't a match for these people. At the same time, Firecloud got out of the car and called to Ba. Firecloud, why did you call me? Didn't you go to Boss Lin Yi? How is it? Did he agree to help you deal with the Everyday and Everyday sect? Ba quickly asked. Overlord, let's not talk about this for now. I've encountered some trouble and I can't make a decision. Help me out. Flaming Firecloud quickly told Earth Overlord about his troubles in detail as he spoke. Oh. Ba hesitated after hearing Firecloud's words, but after a while, Ba persuaded, Firecloud, from my perspective, I naturally want you to help Boss Lin Yi, but as a friend, I hope that you do what you can and don't hurt yourself. It doesn't matter if you're injured, as long as you're still breathing, Boss can help you recover. Recover? Really? Firecloud paused. As long as I'm not dead, I can recover. Haha, I won't hide it from you. Back then, my injuries were extremely serious, and I was unconscious. It was Boss Lin Yi who directly healed me, and now I'm jumping around like a normal person, Tu Junwang said. Haha, I'll be honest with you. So you're saying that young Shurasian can be saved? Firecloud paused. Young Shurasian? Didn't he die a long time ago? The dead can't be revived. Ba paused as well. He's not completely dead. A few days ago, Heavenly Elixir Sect sent young Shurasian's corpse back, still breathing, so my grandpa sealed him in a cave in Fiery Mountain. He won't die for now, but he won't be able to live either, Firecloud said. Corpses can be sent back. Ba pause. It turned out that this matter was thanks to the ghostly thing in Lin Yi's jade pendant. After the ghostly thing shocked the Five Evils dragon, the Five Evils dragon thought of doing a good deed. He ordered his spiritual beasts to send all the corpses that had died in the trial, but had not been eaten yet, to the Five Evils mountain range teleportation formation, back to Heavenly Elixir Sect. Heavenly Elixir Sect received these corpses and naturally sent them back according to their respective sects. Because young Shurasian cultivated the fire attribute, after returning to Fiery Mountain, the last bit of potential in his body was stimulated. His desire to live gave him a glimmer of hope, but he definitely couldn't be saved. Young Shurasian's grandpa was still unwilling to give up, so he placed young Shurasian's corpse in a cave in Fiery Mountain Range. This was the place where the inheritor received the inheritance, but it could also allow the fire attribute cultivator to maintain his life after being seriously injured. Although Firecloud didn't know why young Shurasian was sent back, he told Ba about young Shurasian's signs of life. How can he be saved? Boss Lin Yi can save him, Ba said. What? Are you serious? You can do that? Firecloud was shocked. Holy shit, is that strong? If that's the case, what do I have to be afraid of? I'm going to charge. Don't just charge blindly. Ba was speechless. Just cooperate with Boss Lin Yi. Ask him what to do. Alright, I'll go now. Firecloud quickly got in the car and was about to talk to Lin Yi through Chen Tian, but Chen Tian had already hung up. He quickly asked, what did Boss Lin Yi say? Firecloud heard about how strong Lin Yi was, so naturally, he called Lin Yi boss as well. After all, Lin Yi was just too strong, and Firecloud felt that he had to call Lin Yi boss. Boss said to wait for a while. As long as Jingyi isn't in danger, we won't do anything, Chen Tian said to Firecloud. Okay, when will boss come? Firecloud asked. Should be soon. Chen Tian was also very anxious. Logically speaking, with 11 and 11's strength, they should be able to sense two people appearing near House Sun, but 11's attention was on Sun Jingyi, and Yi's was on Tagan Dragon. Tagan Dragon started to recover slowly with Sun Jingyi's screams. This made Yi, who was observing from the side, sigh in relief. He could finally report to the Chen Elder. If Tagan Dragon recovered, the Elder would probably be very happy, right? 11, try harder, it should be about time, Yi said. Okay, big brother, but this little girl's situation isn't looking good. She can't hold on much longer. 11 was performing acupuncture on Sun Jingyi's body, so he could naturally feel the energy draining from Sun Jingyi's body. The speed at which it was draining was getting slower and slower. This wasn't a good sign. It meant that Sun Jingyi didn't have much qi left, and at this rate, it wouldn't be long before she ran out of energy. Yi nodded, took out another energy pill, and stuffed it into Sun Jingyi's mouth. But something like an energy pill could only be taken in a short period of time. Taking it twice was fine, but the third time would not have much effect. Even the second time was far less effective than the first time. Sun Jingyi screamed again. She felt that her consciousness was getting blurrier, and the pain in her body was not as painful as before. If it wasn't for the fact that Sun Jingyi was afraid that if she fainted and stopped the incantation, she would definitely have fainted. However, this willpower kept her persevering. She did not dare to fall as she waited for 11's acupuncture to end. Was she going to die? Sun Jingyi felt as if she was about to float. Her soul seemed to have returned to the past, to the bar where she had first met Lin Yi. She recalled how she had joked with him and wanted to be half his lover. She recalled the interesting scene when she had a meal with Wu Chentian and Lin Yi. She recalled how Lin Yi had helped her solve her business problems. She recalled how she had helped him heal. All of this flashed before Sun Jingyi's eyes like a movie. Chapter 30-32. The two weren't officially in a relationship, but thinking back to the past made Sun Jingyi feel very warm. Lin Yi saw his Cherokee from afar, parked not far from house. Sunday. Lin Yi patted the purple lightning beast hard. Foam, faster, it's the final char. Roar, 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 the purple lightning beast roared and charged over. Chen Tian and Hua Haiyun heard the beast's roar and got out of the car, shouting excitedly, "Boss, you're here." "How's Jingyi?" Lin Yi asked urgently. "Inside, there's still movement." Chen Tian's eyes were red from anxiety seeing that Lin Yi was here. He wanted to charge in with Lin Yi. "Okay. Chen Tian, Xiaoyun, right? After we go in, I'll take care of the Sky Class early phase peak, and you two will hold off the Sky Class late phase peak. Xiaoyun, you're one level lower than him, you should be able to hold him off for a while, right?" Lin Yi ordered. "Okay, no problem." Hua Haiyun nodded. He might not be able to handle a Sky Class late phase peak, but he was confident that he could hold him off for a while. He wouldn't be killed instantly. Lin Yi nodded and charged into House Sun on the purple lightning beast. The commotion outside was naturally heard by Little One and Little 11. Little One frowned and said to Little 11, "Little Shamai, continue, don't worry about it, I'll handle it." "Okay." Little 11 nodded. She knew that Targanlong's treatment wasn't over yet, and she couldn't be distracted. But when Little One saw Lin Yi charge into House Sun on the purple lightning beast, he couldn't help but frown. Why was Lin Yi here? When Lin Yi saw Sun Jingyi covered in silver needles, her face pale, and her mouth bleeding, Lin Yi was completely enraged. Especially when he saw the person torturing Sun Jingyi, Lin Yi trembled. Little 11, Lin Yi remembered this person's name deeply. Lin Yi once swore, one day, he would make Han Jingjing kill this person with her own hands. But before Lin Yi could find her, she appeared in front of Lin Yi again. And she even did it to Sun Jingyi. At that time, Lin Yi wanted to use the Raging Fire 8 trigram palm to kill Little 11. However, rationality stopped Lin Yi from doing so. It wasn't that Lin Yi was afraid of Five Elements sect and didn't dare to kill Little 11. Even Old 6, Old 7, and Old 12 died in the hands of Lin Yi or people related to Lin Yi. What was there for Lin Yi to be afraid of? But Lin Yi wanted Han Jingjing to kill Little 11 with her own hands to relieve the hatred in her heart. It would be too easy for her to be killed in an instant. Lin Yi had to torture her until she couldn't stand it anymore. And then kill her. Lin Yi hated this opponent even more than the ones he had faced in the past. Towards Zhong Pingliang, it was just ordinary hatred. But towards Little 11, when Lin Yi saw her, he couldn't control his emotions. Seeing the large pile of silver needles on Sun Jingyi's body and Little 11's acupuncture technique, Lin Yi was slightly stunned. There was a familiar feeling. Wasn't this the 9 Fushi needles? Could it be that the method to use his heaven-level divine weapon was Little 11's and was stolen by the strange man? The more he thought about it, the more likely it was. A sneer flashed across Lin Yi's mouth. Didn't you like to use the 9 fushi needles? Well, then I'll let you have a taste of the 9 fushi needles. The 9 fushi needles, when infused with true qi, could save people and also harm people. Good and evil could be determined in an instant. However, the method of saving people had been lost, so only harm was left. Infusing true qi into the silver needles and then inserting them into the opponent's body could cause the opponent incomparable pain. Lin Yi directly pulled out all the silver needles on Sun Jingyi's body. There was no authentic 9 fushi needles, but Lin Yi found that the silver needles used by Little 11 were not ordinary silver needles. They seemed to be imitations of the 9 fushi needles. Little 11, right? Don't think that you're the only one who knows how to torture people. Lin Yi sneered and said fiercely, hand over your life. Sun Jingyi was already on the verge of death. She thought that she would never see Lin Yi again, but when she suddenly heard little ones shout, she opened her eyes and saw Lin Yi riding the purple lightning beast. She immediately felt that it was a little unbelievable. How did Lin Yi know that she was in danger? And the two of them were heaven stage experts, and they were the 2 people who had forced Lin Yi to the point where he couldn't fight back. How did Lin Yi dare to appear here so openly? Wasn't he afraid? Moreover, he actually said such ruthless words to Little 11, hand over your life. At this moment, Sun Jingyi was incomparably excited. She suddenly remembered something that Zixia had said on TV, the one I love is a hero of the world. One day, he'll wear a golden armor and ride on a rainbow cloud to marry me. Although Lin Yi did not step on colorful clouds, he was riding the purple lightning beast. He was like a prince riding a white horse in a fairy tale. Damn it. Little one did not expect Lin Yi to make a move as soon as he came up and snatch away her silver needles. Her attention had been focused on the acupuncture. How could she have known that Lin Yi was not targeting her or Little One, but the silver needles on Sun Jingyi's body? Little One's expression also became stern. Lin Yi had disturbed Taganlong's healing, which made him anxious and angry. He wanted to deal with Lin Yi, but at this time, Huaxianyun made his move. Huaxianyun was a heaven stage late stage expert, and was also someone who was nurtured by an ancient sect. Therefore, although his strength was weaker than Little One's, he had no problem dealing with him. At the very least, with Little One's strength, he would not be able to kill Huaxianyun instantly. Although Little One was a little annoyed by the sudden appearance of a heaven stage late stage expert, he had no choice but to brace himself and deal with him patiently. He wanted to kill Huaxianyun in one go, but it was not realistic. The most annoying thing was that Little One's divine weapon was not with him, but in the car. In his eyes, there was no need for a divine weapon to deal with the Sun family. His role was to help Little 11 look after Taganlong. Who would have thought that Lin Yi would bring a heaven stage late stage expert with him? Where did this person come from? Little One did not have a heaven stage divine weapon, but Huaxianyun did. He held a palm leaf fan in his hand, and true qi with flames rushed out from the palm leaf fan, burning towards Little One, causing him to groan inwardly. Chapter 30-33. Just when Fuming Cloud and Yi Yi were in a stalemate, Lin Yi raised his hand, and the 9 fushi needles imbued with Lin Yi's sky-class qi shot towards 11. 11 thought that Lin Yi pulled out all the needles from Sun Jingyi's body to save Sun Jingyi. She didn't think that Lin Yi could also use flying needles, and the fushi needles at that. However, it was too late for Little 11 to dodge. The 9 fushi needles were all inserted into Little 11's acupoints, and Lin Yi's qi was also sealed in Little 11's acupoint. Lin Yi's method was similar to the one he used on Zhao Yarawang. But the needles he used weren't good ones, and the qi didn't follow any rules either. But now, these were the fushi needles, and they were specially used. Elder Bai could easily remove the needles from Zhao Yaowang's body, but 11 couldn't remove the needles herself. If she tried to pull them out, the qi would explode and leave a bloody hole in her body. The holes weren't enough to take 11th's life, but the places where the needles came from were very dark. Chest, abdomen, lower body, buttocks, all of them were pierced with needles. Of course, if the needles exploded, 11 could use a great restore pill to heal them. It would just be a little more painful. However, all the meridians in 11th's body were filled with silver needles. It could be said that there was a needle in every part of 11th's meridians, and even his dantian had 2 needles. If he wanted to remove these needles, his meridians and dantian would be blown to smithereens. If that happened, she would have to force the Sun Clan to heal her. Otherwise, she would be a cripple forever. Otherwise, she would let these needles stay in her body forever, and be a hedgehog for the rest of her life, until she found a way to cure it. But if she was crippled, who could use the secret technique? The secret technique could only be activated with the Fushi 9 needles. In the 5 elemental gate, the only one who knew how to use the Fushi 9 needles was herself. Hence, thinking of the tragedy he was about to face, the 11th almost burst into tears. His chest and buttocks had exploded, his meridians and dantian had also exploded. That medicinal pill was useless and couldn't resolve it. Wouldn't he become a disgusting person with holes all over his body? If it was someone else, even if Lin Yi wanted to kill the enemy, he would not use such a cruel and vicious method. After all, this was torturing the enemy to death. Pulling out a silver needle was painful enough. Whoever tied the bell should untie it. Only a cultivator who knows how to use the 9 Fushi needles and is stronger than the one who used the needles would be able to neutralize it. However, her meridians and dantian were all pierced with silver needles. Once she used the incantation, the true chi on the silver needles would explode, so she didn't dare to use the incantation. He could only watch helplessly. She clearly had the ability to resolve it, but she couldn't. Thinking of this, there was a flash of horror in the 11th's eyes. She looked at Lin Yi and gasped for breath. Her eyes were spewing flames of anger. Impossible. Impossible. How can you use the 9 Fushi needles? Quickly resolve it for me, otherwise, I will ask my father to kill your whole family. Oh, I am an orphan. I only have one adoptive grandfather. Lin Yi shrugged. Then I will kill your grandfather. The 11th roared hysterically. Oh, go ahead, as long as you can find him. Lin Yi curled his lips. In his heart, he couldn't wait for ancestor Shen Chen to go to the West Star Mountain village. He probably wouldn't be able to come back. Kill my grandfather? If my grandfather could come out, you would be dead. You. The 11th didn't expect Lin Yi to be so indifferent. She didn't know what Lin Yi was thinking. She thought that Lin Yi was certain that she couldn't find his grandfather, so she roared, Lin Yi, you resolve it for me. Eldest senior brother and I will leave immediately. How about it? We won't look for trouble with you. TSK, are you stupid? Lin Yi looked at the 11th mockingly. The silly girl I know is stupid enough, but compared to you, she is the smartest. You are not just stupid, you are brainless. You won't look for trouble with me? It's obvious that I don't want to let you go. You. The 11th panicked. Eldest senior brother, help me kill Lin Yi. I. Just as little one was about to speak, he was distracted and was hit by Fuming Cloud's fan. Although little one managed to dodge it, the flames still burned half of his face, burning off half of his hair. He immediately had a yin-yang haircut, as if he had gone to the barber's and left after shaving half of his head. This made little one not dare to be distracted. Although he was worried about the 11th, Firecloud didn't give him any chance. 11 was arrogant and tyrannical, but he could see that Xiao Yu was in a difficult position. He and Hua Hua were evenly matched, and while it was obvious that Xiao Yu was stronger, Wu Chentian was on the side, and Xiao Yu couldn't defend himself. Chentian was only an Earth-class late-phase peak, but his iron fist arts was no joke. He couldn't injure little one internally, but he could at least make little one stumble. This gave Firecloud a chance. The two worked well together, and Chentian always sneakily attacked from behind. He never stopped, punching and leaving, not caring if he hit or not. This made it impossible for little one to lock on to Chentian's position, so little one decided to just ignore him. The moment he went to find Chentian, Firecloud would definitely attack him with his fan, catching him off guard. This was the most frustrating fight little one had ever fought. When he fought against Lin Yi, he was so strong that Lin Yi couldn't even fight back. But now, Lin Yi was torturing 11 to death, and he couldn't do anything else. 11, how is it? Does it feel good? Actually, the best is yet to come. Lin Yi looked at 11 coldly. Lin Yi's silver needles were just the appetizer. Looking at Sun Jingyi, who had fainted on the ground, Lin Yi's heart was filled with cruelty. Lin Yi wasn't someone who liked torturing people. Most of the time, he dealt with his opponents by killing them, but this was the first time Lin Yi had the urge to torture someone to death. Chapter 30-34. Little 11 regretted not mentioning it when Lin Yi came. If she had been slightly more vigilant, channeled her zhenqi to protect her body, and dodged, it would have been difficult for those silver needles to pierce her body. Even if there were some that managed to pierce her body, there wouldn't have been so many of them. She was like a hedgehog, and if she were to pluck out a few silver needles, a minor revitalization pill would probably be enough to solve the problem. But now, Xiaofeng, there's a lightning rod here. Do you think she would feel good if lightning struck down at this moment? Lin Yi confirmed that Sun Jingyi had only fainted and her life was not in danger, so he continued to think of ways to torture little 11. Roar, roar, roar. After hearing Lin Yi's words, the purple electric beast immediately understood what was going on and laughed wretchedly. Little 11 didn't know what Lin Yi was talking about. What lightning? It wasn't raining on a sunny day, so how could there be lightning? However, she knew that Lin Yi wasn't saying anything nice, and it couldn't be nonsense. Although she didn't understand what he was saying, at least the spirit beast beside him could. What do you mean? However, just as little 11 asked, a bolt of lightning shot out from the purple electric beast's horn and hit the silver needles on little 11's body. The purple electric beast obviously understood what Lin Yi meant. The electric current was controlled to a very weak range. It couldn't kill, but it could cause extreme pain. Of course, even so, an ordinary person would be electrocuted to death. However, little 11 wasn't an ordinary person. He was a cultivator. Raw, little 11's body trembled and let out a shrill scream. The lightning hit the silver needles and formed an electric net. Through the silver needles, it continuously shocked various parts of little 11's body, especially those sensitive parts. It made little 11 want to die. He started to break dance on the ground. The electric current that the purple lightning wind beast emitted was endless. This electric current was small, so it could be used continuously for a long time. It wasn't like a big move, which could be released in an instant and then had to wait for a while to recover. Even though little 11 was a cultivator, it was not easy for him to endure the continuous tapping. The parts of her body had already started to emit green smoke, and the parts of her body that were pierced by the silver needles had also started to gradually turn black. Little 11 writhed in pain where the electric current had struck. Little 11 wanted to reach out and grab the needle, but he didn't dare to do so. He was afraid that he would accidentally drop the needle and the zhenqi inside it would explode. She could only dance like a water snake. She wanted to fall to the ground, but she didn't dare. Afraid that she would accidentally drop the silver needles, she could only stand there in pain, suffering. Doesn't it feel good? Lin Yi looked at little 11 with interest. Who doesn't know how to torture people? Lin Yi. Please, let me go. I was wrong. I shouldn't have tortured your woman. Little 11 finally couldn't take it anymore. He began to beg for mercy. Little one's face became very ugly. Little 11's painful voice made him extremely anxious. However, there was nothing he could do to help. He hated Lin Yi and wanted nothing more than to tear Lin Yi into pieces. Lin Yi, what's wrong? Little 11's scream actually woke up Sun Jingyi. It was obvious how earth-shattering her voice was. Nothing, let this bitch have a taste of being pierced by someone else. Lin Yi said indifferently. There was not the slightest bit of sympathy in his words. He turned a deaf ear to little 11's cry for help. Sun Jingyi smiled slightly. Looking at little 11's painful appearance, a satisfied smile appeared on her face. Just now, all the pain on her body was returned to little 11 by Lin Yi, and it was even worse. Giving her a taste of her own medicine, but it was returned 10 times, 100 times. At this moment, Sun Jingyi felt very relaxed. Lin Yi really avenged her, but she really couldn't figure out where Lin Yi found such a powerful helper. Lin Yi, I won't let you go. Little 11's begging for mercy was not successful, so he began to speak ruthlessly. Oh. Lin Yi responded indifferently. Did you hear me? Oh. Little 11 saw that Lin Yi did not move after saying oh, and suddenly became a little angry. She was not afraid of Lin Yi bickering with her. What she was most afraid of was Lin Yi's indifference. No matter what she said, Lin Yi seemed to not hear it at all. This made her feel as if she had punched cotton, and there was a deep sense of powerlessness. "I heard you, but I won't let you go." "Same here," Lin Yi said indifferently. "Do you know why I didn't kill you directly? I deliberately kept you alive, waiting for the next time we meet, to torture you again. You will die a horrible death." Little 11 glared at Lin Yi fiercely. If looks could kill, then Little 11 would have killed Lin Yi. Hee hee. Lin Yi laughed. "When you torture others, have you ever thought that you will also die a horrible death?" Little 11 was anxious. If Little 11 went on like this, she might really be tortured by Lin Yi. Although Lin Yi said that he would not kill her, death was not the most terrible thing. Little 11 gritted her teeth and had no choice but to use a secret technique. This secret technique was brought down from the Archean level by the Five Elements sect and the Everyday sect. It greatly damaged one's strength and could forcibly increase one's strength by 1 level in an instant. However, the higher the level, the more limited the duration. Moreover, after a period of time, Little 11's strength would suddenly fall to heaven stage, and she would need to recuperate for a period of time to recover. But at this time, he could not care so much. He had to defeat Hua Mingyun and then deal with Lin Yi. Even if he killed Lin Yi, he had to make a move. Otherwise, if Little 11 was tortured to death, Ancestor Shen Chen would probably blame him when he returned. Archean inheritance, blessing. Little One suddenly roared, and in a split second, the black robe on his body suddenly swelled up, filled with true energy, and his strength, in this instant, also experienced a qualitative leap. Although Little 11 was already an expert at the peak of the late stage of Heaven stage, it was impossible for him to reach the heavenly Tao even if he increased his strength by 1 level, because this secret technique could not allow him to cross that super barrier. However, it could allow the current Little 11 to have the strength and power of a divine weapon. Chapter 30-35. Hua Shouyun's eyes froze, and a look of disbelief flashed across his face. Why did Little One's strength suddenly increase so much? And Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat. Not good. Little One seemed to be using some secret technique. In fact, Lin Yi's torture of Little 11 seemed complicated, but it happened in the blink of an eye. It only took a few minutes. Lin Yi wanted to start compressing chi bombs to help Hua Shouyun deal with Little One after torturing Little 11 a few more times. But what Lin Yi didn't expect was that Little One's strength would suddenly increase to an unbelievable level. Lin Yi didn't care about Little 11 anymore, and turned to Little One warily. At this moment, Little One's palm was aimed at Hua Shouyun. Go to hell, Tornado World. Facing Chuntian's sneak attack, Little One didn't care anymore. He just wanted to get rid of Hua Shouyun first. Hua Haoyun had dealt with the Heaven-Earth tornado before. He had used his own martial technique, Prairie Burning Sparks, to resolve it easily. But this time, when Hua Haoyun used Prairie Burning Sparks and used it together with the banana fan, he felt that something was amiss. The two fierce martial skills collided with each other with a loud bang. Xiao Wan only took 2 steps back, but Hua Huhu spat out a mouthful of blood. His entire body flew out and landed heavily on the wall of the courtyard, smashing a large hole in it. Lin Yi's eyes sharpened. He didn't expect Little One to suddenly become so strong. Hua Shouyun wasn't even a match for one move. Of course, although Hua Shouyun was defeated by Little One, his life wasn't in danger. He only suffered severe internal injuries. After Hua Shouyun was sent flying, Little One didn't care about him. He turned around and looked at Lin Yi with a fierce expression. Lin Yi, today, no one can save you. You must die. Lin Yi didn't expect Little One to have a secret technique to increase his strength. This was similar to Brother Heibao. Lin Yi's expression could not help but turn solemn. However, Lin Yi also had a backup plan. Little Yi's strength was extremely tyrannical. Lin Yi couldn't rely on Hua Mingyun. Hence, when Lin Yi first entered the Sun family's residence, he made a plan. Come on, Lin Yi wanted to torture Little 11th for a while longer until his true chi bomb was successfully compressed. Then, with the help of the burning cloud, he gave Little One a fatal blow. He believed that after Little One was struck by the true energy explosion, he would definitely be injured. Even if it couldn't do anything to him, it could still affect his movements. This was enough for Fuming Cloud to injure him. But now, Lin Yi could only change his plan. Seeing that Little One was about to execute his strongest martial technique, Tornado Heaven and Earth, Lin Yi's heart went cold. Lin Yi had tasted the bitterness of this martial technique before. If he really got hit, he would probably die today. Therefore, he hurriedly ordered the purple electric tempest beast, Xiaofeng, don't worry about me. Kill the Tagan dragon. Roar, roar, roar. The purple electric tempest beast roared, and the horn on its forehead began to flicker with electricity. It was ready to activate the Tagan dragon. This was Lin Yi's backup plan. After Lin Yi came to the Sun family's residence, he had many opportunities to kill the Tagan dragon, but Lin Yi did not do so. Lin Yi was very clear about the importance of the Tagan dragon. It could be seen from the anger of the Shenzhen Patriarch and the fact that Little First and Little 11th ignored Boss Bai's agreement to deal with Sun Jingyi. The Tagan dragon was extremely important to them. Lin Yi did not kill the Tagan dragon because he wanted to use it as a last resort to escape. Lin Yi ordered the purple electric tempest beast to kill the Tagan dragon just to scare Little First. With the purple electric tempest beast's strength, it was not enough to kill the Tagan dragon in front of Little First unless Little First gave up on the Tagan dragon. However, this was impossible. Sure enough, Little First's expression changed after hearing Lin Yi's order. He turned around abruptly and took a few steps forward to block the Tagan dragon. Boom, 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 a bolt of lightning shot out from the purple electric tempest beast's horn and struck Little First. As for Little First, he took the purple electric tempest beast's attack head-on. He did not dare to dodge, fearing that he would hit the Tagan dragon if he dodged. Beast, take this. Little First's tornado world, which he had not activated, was instantly activated at the purple electric tempest beast. A tornado-like energy surged towards the purple electric tempest beast. Lin Yi was a little worried, but the next scene surprised Lin Yi. Although the tornado world looked extremely powerful and terrifying, it only made the purple electric tempest beast take a few steps back and did not do anything to it. It seemed that this purple electric tempest beast had thick skin and flesh. Even a peak late-stage heaven rank expert could not do anything to it. Roar, 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 the purple electric tempest beast seemed to be angry. The horn on its head flashed with a powerful electric current again. Little First did not expect the purple electric tempest beast to not be afraid of being hit. It only took 2 steps back and did not cause any substantial damage. This made him frown. Little First did not expect Lin Yi to target the Tagan dragon. This was a huge burden, but Little First did not dare to abandon it. Therefore, he did not dare to be in a stalemate with the purple electric tempest beast. He was afraid that Lin Yi would sneak attack the Tagan dragon from behind. If he turned to deal with Lin Yi, the purple electric tempest beast might strike him with another bolt of lightning. Since he could not kill the purple electric tempest beast, there was no need for Little First to continue fighting. He also knew that some spirit beasts had thick skin and flesh. Even if their strength was low, cultivators could not do anything to them. This was a very common thing in the Five Fiends mountain range. Therefore, Little First made a prompt decision. He picked up Little 11 with his left hand and Tagan Dragon with his right, turned around, and ran. Where there's life, there's hope. If he stayed here and fought to the death with Lin Yi, he might be able to kill Lin Yi, but Tagan Dragon would definitely die. This was not the outcome that Little First wanted to see. If Lin Yi died, Boss Bai would definitely be furious. If Tagan Dragon died, Patriarch Shen Chen would definitely be furious. Therefore, Little First chose to retreat very rationally. After all, he was an expert at the peak of the late stage of Heaven stage. His speed of retreat was very fast, and he disappeared without a trace. Looking at Little First's departing figure, Lin Yi was about to praise the purple electric tempest beast, but he saw the purple electric tempest beast spit out a large pool of blood. It seemed that the purple electric tempest beast had suffered a very serious internal injury. It was just pretending to scare Little First. Little Feng, how are you? Lin Yi was shocked and asked quickly. Chapter 30-36. Then, it used its claws to point at Sun Jingyi on the ground and Hu Xiaoyun not far away, indicating that Lin Yi should treat them first. Lin Yi nodded. Since the purple electric tempest beast could hold on for a while, Lin Yi naturally had to treat Sun Jingyi first. Placing his hand on Sun Jingyi's meridians, Lin Yi quickly circulated the second level of the art of dragon mastery. Lin Yi's true qi flowed continuously into Sun Jingyi's body. After about half an hour, Sun Jingyi slowly woke up. Seeing Lin Yi beside her, Sun Jingyi felt a little relieved. It seemed that Little 1 and Little 11 were no longer around. She didn't know if they were dead or had escaped, but in any case, the danger had been resolved. However, when Sun Jingyi woke up, Lin Yi's expression didn't improve. Instead, it became even more serious. Lin Yi, what's wrong? Sun Jingyi woke up happily, but when she saw Lin Yi's expression, she was a little puzzled. Jingyi, do you feel that there's something wrong with your body? Lin Yi asked. Inside my body? What's wrong? Sun Jingyi looked at Lin Yi with some surprise. In your body, there's true qi that doesn't belong to us. Lin Yi said. This true qi seems to have taken root in your body and is on par with your own true qi. When my true qi entered your body, it turned into two parts. One part mixed with your own true qi, and the other part transformed into another kind of true qi. After Sun Jingyi healed Lin Yi, the true qi in her body was the same as Lin Yi's, but it was a different kind. But it didn't belong to her either. Sun Jingyi ran the mantra of the Sun family a little and noticed that something was wrong. This is that Tagan dragon's vital energy. Sun Jingyi immediately recognized the source of the vital energy. Tagan dragon? Lin Yi frowned. It seemed like Sun Jingyi was healing Tagan dragon. The 11th had used some unknown method to cause the true qi in Sun Jingyi's body to mutate. Thinking of this, Lin Yi asked, try and see if you can heal me now. I'll treat Hu Xiaoyun first, then you can tell me what's going on. All right. Sun Jingyi nodded and began to run the mantra carefully, checking the vital energy in her body. The next moment, Lin Yi came to Hu Xiaoyun's side and began to heal him. Although Hu Xiaoyun was seriously injured, it was not fatal. At this time, he woke up and saw that Lin Yi had healed Sun Jingyi's injuries quickly. He was extremely surprised. From the looks of it, Tuo Hao was not exaggerating at all. He knew very well how serious Sun Jingyi's injuries were. She was on the verge of death. But in the blink of an eye, she could stand up. She could move freely. Thinking of this, Hu Xiaoyun was suddenly excited and proud of his choice. If he had not made the prompt decision to follow Lin Yi to deal with Little Yi, then young Shirasian would have been hopeless. Thinking that young Shirasian could still be saved, Hu Xiaoyun's desire to seek revenge on the Everyday and Everyday sect diminished. After all, the Everyday and Everyday sect was not a weak sect. Instead, it was extremely powerful. Unless it was absolutely necessary, it was better not to provoke them. Boss Lin Yi, you're really amazing, Hu Xiaoyun said quickly when he saw Lin Yi walking over. Lin Yi was slightly stunned. He thought to himself, when did I take in Hu Xiaoyun as a follower? This guy really knows how to pull strings. Hu Xiaoyun seemed to have seen through Lin Yi's thoughts, so he smiled and said, Tuo Hao and I are sworn brothers. You're Tuo Xiaoyun's boss, so naturally, you're my boss too. So he was introduced by Tuo Xiaoyun? Lin Yi nodded and did not dwell on this. After all, if Hu Xiaoyun had not resisted Little Yi for a while today, Lin Yi would not have been able to torture Little 11 for so long. Speaking of which, Lin Yi was very grateful to Hu Xiaoyun. The two of them did not know each other, and it was only Tuo Xiaoyun's introduction. It was already very good that Hu Xiaoyun could do this. Even if he had an ulterior motive for helping him, he was still a sincere person. I'll help you heal first. If there's anything, you can tell me now. As Lin Yi spoke, he stretched out his hand and grasped Hu Xiaoyun's pulse. How do you want me to cooperate? Boss Lin Yi. Hu Xiaoyun had not healed his injuries before, so he did not know what to do. You don't have to do anything. Just wait, said Lin Yi. All right. I'll need boss's help for this. Hu Xiaoyun nodded and began to tell Lin Yi about his background. Boss, I'm sure you've heard that our Flaming Mountain has sent a disciple to participate in the Sky Elixir Sect's test. However, this person is not ordinary. He's the grandson of the Grand Elder of Flaming Mountain, and also a good brother who grew up with me. Oh, I know. The one you're talking about, is he called Young Hero Yang? Lin Yi had some impression of this person. Young Hero Yang was killed by Zhong Naipao, and Shu had also told him why Hua Haoyun was looking for him. You mean, you want me to help you get revenge on Zhong Naipao? Yes, his name is Yang Shirasian. Hua Haoyun nodded quickly, but said, there's no need for revenge. The everyday sect is very strong. After fighting with those two just now, I realized that I'm not strong enough. I can't harm you, boss, so I don't have any thoughts of revenge. Then why are you looking for me? Lin Yi was a little puzzled if he wasn't going to get revenge. What else did Hua Haoyun want from him? Lin Yi really didn't understand. It's like this, boss, I want to ask you to help me heal Yang Shirasian. Hua Haoyun hesitated for a while before saying his goal. Yang Shirasian? Lin Yi was stunned. Isn't he dead? Why do you need to heal him? He's not completely dead yet, he's still breathing. Hua Haoyun smiled bitterly and told Lin Yi about Yang Shirasian's experience. Oh, he's not dead yet. Lin Yi was a little surprised. That's possible, but can you bring him here? That? I'm afraid not. I'm afraid that he won't be able to take the long journey. Hua Haoyun shook his head apologetically. Boss, can you come personally? No matter what the reward is, as long as Flaming Mountain has it, you can ask for it. We'll definitely satisfy you. Chapter 3037. He should only have 1 year of life left. Hua Haoyun said. 1 year, that's definitely not a problem. Your Flaming Mountain is located in the Hakuna Matata Desert, right? Lin Yi knew the location of Flaming Mountain. Yes, it's right next to the Hakuna Matata Desert. Hua Haoyun said, Boss, do you know this location? Ian, I may have to go to the Hakuna Matata Desert for a while. I can find you on the way, Lin Yi said. Okay, that's great. Hua Haoyun was pleasantly surprised. I'll thank you on behalf of Shui. You helped me a lot today. You don't have to thank me. I'll contact you when the time comes. Lin Yi said, okay, your injuries have healed. I've healed. Hua Haoyun didn't expect that while he and Lin Yi were chatting and laughing, his injuries had already healed. What kind of amazing recovery method was this? Lin Yi seemed to have healed his injuries very easily. Of course, although Hua Haoyun saw that Lin Yi looked very relaxed, he didn't take it lightly. Lin Yi looked very relaxed, but if it was someone else, they would probably die of exhaustion and not heal others. I've healed. Lin Yi said, if you want to stay here, then stay for a few more days. If not, you can go back today. Okay, I'm not in a hurry. I'll go back with you, boss, and then I'll leave in a few days. Hua Haoyun said, but he didn't ask why Lin Yi was going to the Hakuna Matata Desert. After all, it might involve Lin Yi. After Lin Yi finished healing Hua Haoyun, he began to heal the Purple Lightning Beast. After healing the Purple Lightning Beast, Lin Yi was busy healing the Sun family members. Old Man Sun, Sun Jingyi's uncle, these people all needed Lin Yi's treatment. They were busy until the evening before they all recovered. The Sun family members knew that Lin Yi had saved them, so they were naturally grateful. Mr. Lin, thank you so much. Elder Sun prepared a table of banquets, then looked at Lin Yi with a smile. If you hadn't arrived in time, our Sun family would have been in danger. Not only would Jingyi have been killed, but Jingyi's second uncle and I might have died because no one could save us. Old Man Sun is too polite. This is what I should do. Lin Yi smiled. Originally, I wanted to find a good day to talk to Old Master Sun about this, but since I am here today, I will say it directly. Is it about you and Jingyi? This was naturally not a problem. I totally agree. Old Man Sun said directly. Jingyi already said it after she came back. I don't need to worry about her following you. Sun Jingyi blushed, but she was very happy. In fact, when Sun Jingyi came back and told him about Lin Yi, Old Man Sun still had some concerns. After all, Lin Yi already had a few girlfriends. If Sun Jingyi got involved, Old Man Sun was afraid that Sun Jingyi would be at a disadvantage. But now it seemed that Lin Yi was still very reliable. At least when House Sun was in trouble, he could be the first to come. "Thank you, Old Man Sun." Lin Yi smiled and said gratefully. This banquet was very harmonious. Wu Chentian and Firecloud also came to eat. Old Man Sun, on the other hand, felt a little awkward when facing Wu Chentian. After all, Wu Chentian was Sun Jingyi's former pursuer, and Old Man Sun had tacitly allowed Wu Chentian to pursue Sun Jingyi. But Wu Chentian didn't feel awkward at all. He had lived in Lin Yi's house for a long time, and Sun Jingyi had also lived there for a few days. Their relationship had long changed. Wu Chentian only treated Sun Jingyi as his sister-in-law, and he didn't have any other thoughts. Seeing that Wu Chentian and Sun Jingyi were chatting freely without any awkwardness, Old Man Sun breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that Lin Yi was quite charming. Not only did Wu Chentian give up on Sun Jingyi, but he was also willing to be his follower. Of course, this wasn't all that surprising. When Old Man Sun learned about Firecloud's identity as an ancient sect, he was completely shocked. Lin Yi actually had an ancient follower? This was too strong, wasn't it? However, when Old Man Sun learned that Lin Yi didn't only have an ancient follower, but also a local tyrant of the Yellow Earth High Sect, he suddenly realized that the distance between him and Lin Yi was getting further and further. The difference between the two wasn't just a little bit, and Lin Yi probably didn't care about the hidden house level anymore. Little One brought Little 11 and Targanlong all the way. They didn't even have time to get a car. They ran for dozens of kilometers before they rented a car and sped in the direction of the Heavenly Elixir Sec. The person who rented the car didn't suspect anything. He thought that Little 11 was receiving acupuncture treatment there, and Targanlong was also a patient, so he didn't ask much and brought Little One and the others along. In the car, Little One couldn't help but want to call Elder Shen Chen several times to tell him about today's encounter, but after thinking about it, he decided against it. It was better to talk about these things in person. Finally, after the torment of the journey, Little One brought Little 11 and Targanlong to the Heavenly Elixir Sect. For the last journey, the rented car couldn't send them off, so Little One could only walk. Along the way, Little 11 remained silent. Although she had survived, she didn't even say a word to Little One, perhaps because she had suffered too much shock and her body was too weak. Looking at Little 11's miserable appearance, Little One secretly planned in his heart. Previously, he had pursued Little 11 because she was the daughter of Elder Shen Chen, and also because she was a heaven stage expert with extraordinary strength. But now, Little 11 was probably crippled, and there would probably be several holes in her body. She had completely become a cripple. What was the use of marrying such a woman? At this moment, Little One was thinking about how to distance himself from Little 11 in the future. It had to be said that the disciples of Elder Shen Chen all had crooked thoughts. If the upper beam was not straight, the lower beam would be crooked. This was also reasonable. Knock, knock, knock. A series of hurried knocks on the door interrupted Elder Xuanshen's cultivation. In fact, it couldn't be considered cultivation. With Elder Xuanshen's strength, he rarely cultivated. It was more about understanding the heavenly Tao. Although this kind of understanding was actually very ethereal and few people had succeeded, before the heavenly island opened, this was the only well-known way to advance to the heavenly Tao self-understanding. Chapter 30-38. Who is it? Patriarch Shen Chen opened his eyes, a little annoyed. When he was cultivating, he refused to be disturbed. This was his rule. There were people guarding the door, but someone knocked on the door. Patriarch Shen Chen was naturally angry. However, the person outside the door did not answer Patriarch Shen Chen. Instead, he pushed the door open and entered. Patriarch Shen Chen was about to lose his temper, but when he saw the person who came in, he was stunned. Little One. Little 11. What's wrong with you? When Patriarch Shen Chen saw Little 11 covered in silver needles, he immediately lost his composure. He suddenly stood up and strode over. This was his biological daughter. Master, when Little 11 stimulated Sun Jingyi and forcefully healed Targanlong, Lin Yi came. Little 11's silver needles were pulled out from Sun Jingyi's body and inserted into Little 11's body. However, I don't know what's going on, But Lin Yi actually knows how to use the 9 fuxi needles. Little one lowered his head and said to Patriarch Shenchen in a low voice. 9 fuxi needles? This is the 9 fuxi needles. Patriarch Shenchen was stunned for a moment. Then, a solemn expression appeared on his face. He stretched out his hand and placed it directly on Little 11's meridians. After a slight inspection, Patriarch Xuanshen's expression became even worse. Ancestor Shenchen had also studied the 9 fuxi needles, but it was not suitable for him to cultivate, so he let Little 11 cultivate it. And in the entire 5 Elements sect, only Little 11 cultivated the 9 fuxi needles. After all, there was only one set of replicated divine weapons, and only one person could cultivate it. However, the current situation was that the 9 fuxi needles that Lin Yi used could only be neutralized by someone who knew the 9 fuxi needles. Moreover, the strength of the person who neutralized it had to be able to suppress the strength of the person who used the needles. However, the 11th couldn't circulate the mantra at all. His meridians were sealed by the fuxi 9 needles. Once he tried to circulate the mantra, it would affect the true qi sealed by the fuxi 9 needles and cause an explosion. Dad! Save me! I don't want to become a cripple. Little 11, who had been holding back all the way, suddenly burst into tears in front of Patriarch Shenchen. It's all that bastard Lin Yi's fault. Dad, you have to avenge me. Kill him. 11th, I'll think of something. Don't cry first. Patriarch Xuanshen's expression was very gloomy. But Lin Yi can't move now. You can't move. I'm already like this, and you still can't avenge me. Little 11 was stunned after hearing this and looked at Patriarch Shenchen in shock. This time, we touched Lin Yi's woman, Sun Jingyi, to heal Taganlong. It's not reasonable at all. We relied on pretending not to know what kind of deep relationship Sun Jingyi and Lin Yi have, and played a word game. If we don't touch Boss Bai's disciple, then Sun Jingyi isn't Boss Bai's disciple. Patriarch Shenchen sighed and said helplessly, but in the end, Sun Jingyi is Lin Yi's woman. In this way, Sun Jingyi is also Boss Bai's disciple. Just like in our sect, if you marry a wife and have children, the wife has to call me master, and the children call me grandmaster or great master. This is the customary rule of the cultivation world. If Lin Yi didn't appear, then we could still muddle through it. Now that Lin Yi has appeared, the moment he appeared, what we should do is immediately stop and apologize, not fight him. Now that you have lost the battle, we can't say anything about it. Although Little 11 was arrogant, she was not a person with low IQ. After listening to Patriarch Xuanshen's explanation, she also knew that she was not in the right in this matter, but she was unwilling. She liked to abuse people, but she did not like to be abused. Now, she had been abused by Lin Yi, and Little 11 still could not take revenge. She was unwilling. Her eyes flashed with infinite hatred like that of a lioness. Master, I think that the most important thing now is not to study Lin Yi, but to save Little 11 first, and then see how Tagan Dragon is doing. This is the most important thing now. Little one calmed down at this moment. What was the purpose of them looking for Sun Jingyi? Wasn't it to save Tagan Dragon? They didn't even think about looking for trouble with Lin Yi, and so Lin Yi didn't care about revenge. Although they'd been humiliated today, the bigger picture was more important. He was a person who could yield and stand tall. Otherwise, Patriarch Shenchen would not have nurtured him, the eldest disciple, as his successor. Little 11, take a rest first. I have to study how to solve the silver needles in your body, Patriarch Shenchen said to Little 11. Elder Shenchen said to Little 11. In fact, although he didn't agree with taking revenge on Lin Yi on the surface, he hated Lin Yi to the bone. He couldn't wait to kill Lin Yi. Now, he was going to treat Tagan Dragon. Now, he did not know whether Tagan Dragon had recovered or not. Instead, another person was injured, and it was his own daughter. How could Patriarch Shenchen not be angry? Dad, but my silver needles are in my butt. I can't even lie down, Little 11 said anxiously with a sad face. This can't be helped unless I find someone who knows how to use the 9 fuxi needles and let him help you solve it. Otherwise, I'm afraid you will be injured by the explosion if I help you pull out the needles. How could Patriarch Shenchen not be worried about Little 11? However, he had no other way. There was nothing he could do. That's right, little junior sister. Bear with it first. You don't want to be injured by the explosion, right? Little Yi also reminded, if your dantian was not sealed, then it would be fine. Master and I would quickly pull out all the silver needles in your body. It doesn't matter if you are injured by the explosion. Just take a recover pill, then these external injuries can be healed. But your dantian is sealed. You can't refine it at all. Once the silver needles in your dantian are removed, your dantian will also explode. After hearing this, little Eleven's face suddenly flashed with a sad look. Previously, she was still excited that Lin Yi's dantian was destroyed and he was poisoned. In the blink of an eye, it became her who was at her wit's end. The most infuriating thing was that she had the ability to resolve the 9 fushi needles on her body, but because her meridians were sealed, she could not use the mantra. Okay, Dad, big senior brother, then help me think of a way as soon as possible. This can't go on, little 11 said helplessly. Patriarch Shen Chen nodded and did not say anything else. Instead, he walked to Tagan Dragon's side, squatted down, and carefully checked Tagan Dragon's condition. Chapter 3039. Is that so? Master, Targanlong has recovered. Little one was also pleasantly surprised. Targanlong was the key figure in that plan. Without him, he and Patriarch Shen Chen would not be able to advance to the heavenly Tao and return to the primordial level. It seems like the Sun family's mantra is really extraordinary. Patriarch Shen Chen nodded and said, Little one, take Targanlong to rest now. Give him a small rejuvenation pill and he will probably wake up tomorrow morning. Yes, Master. Little one nodded and took Targanlong to rest. After Little one and Targanlong left, only Patriarch Shen Chen and Little 11 were left in the room. Patriarch Shen Chen turned his head and looked at Little 11 with a sigh. Some things were not easy to say in front of Little one. After Little one left, Patriarch Shen Chen said, 11, there's nothing I can do either. I can't cultivate the 9 needles of Fushi, so I can't help you resolve the true chi in it. Then what about me? Won't I be like this for the rest of my life? Can't I lie down and rest? Little 11 turned pale with fright, and his voice became hoarse as he yelled, Dad, you have to think of a way. There's no way. Patriarch Shen Chen shook his head. Unless Lin Yi helps you. Then let him help, okay? We'll give him what he needs. Doesn't he want the chi gathering pill? We'll give him a few more and let him save me, okay? Little 11 said anxiously, there's a saying that goes, to take something, you must first give it. Let's give him benefits first, then wait for him to save me before we kill him, okay? Little 11. Patriarch Shen Chen suddenly shouted. Stop fooling around. Give Lin Yi the chi gathering pill. He's already an early stage heaven stage expert. If we give him a few more chi gathering pills, he'll directly advance to the peak of the late stage. At that time, who can kill him? Unless a large group of experts besieged him. Besides, would Boss Bai be willing? Would he watch as a large group of experts besieged Lin Yi? This. Little 11 immediately shut his mouth. After a long while, he said pitifully, Then what should I do? I'll help you slowly pull out the silver needles. Don't think about your meridians and dantian. It's fine if you don't want them. You can just be an ordinary person. As for the injuries on your body, they won't kill you. I'll treat you. Although it's impossible for you to recover to your original state, no one will be able to see you wearing clothes. Patriarch Shen Chen was actually very indignant, but some things couldn't be resolved just because he was indignant. In that case, wouldn't I become a cripple? How would I be able to marry eldest senior brother then? 11th was shocked and hurriedly asked. There's no need to think about marrying little Yi. You've lost all your strength and become a cripple. There's no way he'll marry you. Patriarch Shen Chen waved his hand and said, in the future, he will set foot on that level with me. As for you, you must stay here. I can't guarantee that I can bring you to Heavenly Island, but in theory, it's impossible, so I'm going to marry you to another disciple of mine who I'm more optimistic about. Who is it? Is he handsome? Little 11 asked quickly after hearing this. In fact, she didn't have much feelings for little Yi. She was a person like Patriarch Shen Chen. She was cold and vicious. Kang Ming Ming. You should have met him, Patriarch Shenchen said. Ah, I got it. All right, then it's him. Little 11 was overjoyed. Kang Ming Ming was a real handsome guy. He was handsome and elegant. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to charm Xiao Fen. He came to the Heavenly Elixir sect and seduced Little Peach easily. This was enough to show that Kang Ming Ming had the potential to be a pretty boy. Therefore, when Little 11 heard this name, she agreed without thinking. However, Little 11 was a little puzzled and said, "By the way, isn't Kang Ming Ming engaged to Little Peach of the Heavenly Elixir sect? I can't be the little one. I have to be the big one. Don't worry about this." Moreover, Kang Ming Ming has already broken off the engagement with Little Peach. The two of them aren't suitable. Kang Ming Ming's character is similar to yours and mine. He's sinister and vicious. It's not suitable for Little Peach to be with him. The two of them don't have anything in common. Patriarch Shenchen waved his hand and said, "On the other hand, the two of you should have a lot to talk about together. So, I'm going to matchmake the two of you." That's great. It saves me the trouble of thinking of a way to poison Little Peach to death, Little 11 said happily. However, although you are my daughter, I know this disciple of Kang Ming Ming very well. His sinister character is not inferior to mine. You are just ruthless and not sinister enough. I'm afraid that you will suffer in front of him in the future. So, as your father, I want to teach you a set of unique skills, Patriarch Shenchen said to Little 11. Oh, what unique skill? Little 11 was slightly stunned. Unique skills in bed. Patriarch Shenchen waved his hand and said, "Although your appearance is thousands of times better than Little Peach, the scars left on your body are hard wounds. I'm afraid that when the time comes, Kang Ming Ming will lose interest in you. For my sake, he won't break up with you, but he won't touch you either. If that happens, your fate will be very tragic. And this set of skills in bed can allow you to tie down Kang Ming Ming and make him enjoy you so much that he forgets to leave." It had to be said that from the perspective of scheming, Patriarch Shenchen was still much better than Kang Ming Ming. Kang Ming Ming was unknowingly schemed against by Patriarch Shenchen and his daughter. "Okay, Dad, teach me quickly." Without the skills, Little 11 also calmed down. Next, he would have to rely on Kang Ming Ming to mess with people. Only by locking down Kang Ming Ming's heart could he better help him mess with people. But before that, I'll help you remove all the silver needles from your body, said Patriarch Shenchen. Okay. Little 11 nodded. Hence, in Patriarch Xuanchen's room, there was a pig slaughtering howl. If one didn't know, they would think that Patriarch Shenchen had killed his daughter. Early the next morning, Targanlong woke up as Patriarch Shenchen had said. Little 11 hurriedly told Patriarch Shenchen the good news. However, when Little 11 saw Little 11 wrapped in bandages like a mummy on Patriarch Xuanchen's bed, the corners of his mouth twitched twice. It seemed that the silver needles in Little 11's body had finally been removed, but Little 11 had been blown to such a miserable state. Chapter 30-40. Therefore, Little 1 instantly lost interest in Little 11. Even if marrying Little 11 could make Patriarch Shenchen value him more, he was not prepared to do such a thing. However, on the surface, he still pretended to be very concerned and said, "Master, how is little junior sister's injury?" "It's all right. Her life is not in danger, but she has lost all her strength." Patriarch Shenchen sighed and said, "Little one, I have something to tell you. It's about Little 11's marriage." "Ah!" Little 1 was stunned and smiled bitterly in his heart. Patriarch Shenchen was not going to betroth Little 11 to him, was he? That would be fucked. It's like this. Little 11 has lost her strength. I think it's no longer suitable for her to be with you. How could Patriarch Shenchen not see through Little 1's thoughts? However, he also understood that Little 1 was someone who had set foot on the heavenly way with him. Marrying a useless Little 11 was indeed a bit of a burden. "Ah, Master, I didn't mean that." Little 1 did not expect Patriarch Shenchen to say that. Was he testing him? Thinking of this, he quickly waved his hand and refused. "Little 1, this is not what you want, it's what I want." However, Patriarch Shenchen said, I'm preparing to betroth her to Kang Jiaoming. It should be very difficult for Kang Jiaoming to advance any further. He relied on swallowing medicinal pills to advance, and there's basically no possibility of him setting foot on the heavenly law. If he and Little 11 stay here, it can be considered that the Five Elements sect here will have an heir. I see. Little One thought about it, and it was indeed like this. It was fine as long as Patriarch Shenchen did not blame him, so he nodded and said, "That's also a good thing. I'll congratulate little junior sister, eldest senior brother, don't forget to attend my wedding." Little 11 smiled at Little One. She had also thought it through. Kang Ming was very handsome, and most importantly, he was suitable for her. Although Little One was strong, he would definitely go to Heaven Stage Island with his father. Haha, of course. Little One smiled and said, "At that time, eldest senior brother will definitely give you a big gift." "Thank you, eldest senior brother." 11th's mood was slightly better today. "By the way, why did you look for me so early in the morning? Has Targanlong already woken up?" Patriarch Shenchen waved his hand and gestured for Little 11 to stop there. He had checked on Tagan Dragon's condition yesterday, so he wasn't worried. In his opinion, Tagan Dragon would definitely wake up today. "Yes, Master. Targanlong has woken up, but his body is still a little weak, so he can't visit you personally," Little One said. "Oh, it doesn't matter. I got it," Patriarch Shenchen said. "I'll go see him myself later." "Okay, Master," Little One said, "then I'll go down first. Call Kang Ming over on the way. I have something to tell him," Patriarch Shenchen said to Little Yi. "Yes." Little One nodded and retreated. Not long after, Kang Ming came to Patriarch Xuanshen's room. He had already broken off the engagement with Little Peach. Kang Ming was very happy these few days, but he also heard the news that Little One was injured by Lin Yi, so he had to pretend to be sad at this time. "Disciple greets Master and 11th senior sister," Kang Ming said respectfully. However, when he saw Little 11 covered in gauze on the bed, he was still shocked. "What's going on? Have the silver needles in her body been pulled out? Only by pulling them out would there be such an effect, right?" Thinking of this, Kang Ming couldn't help but laugh in his heart. Little 11 was Patriarch Xuanshen's daughter. Now that she was abused like this, would Patriarch Shenchen let Lin Yi go easily? That was obviously impossible. "Jiaoming, your engagement with Little Peach has been completely cancelled, right?" Patriarch Shenchen glanced at Kang Ming and asked. "Yes, it has been cancelled." Kang Ming replied quickly. "Very good. In that case, I will be your matchmaker again." Patriarch Shenchen nodded and said. "Matchmaker?" Kang Ming was slightly taken aback. "Master, you mean to introduce me to a partner?" "That's right," Patriarch Shenchen said. "I'm going to let you marry my daughter, Little 11. "Ah!" Kang Ming was completely stunned after listening to Patriarch Xuanshen's word. "Marry Little 11? Isn't that the mummy on the bed?" Kang Ming heard that after Little 11's silver needles were pulled out, her whole body would be full of holes. Moreover, Little 11's strength would be lost and she would be a useless person. If Kang Ming married her, she would be worse than Little Peach. Although Little 11's face was prettier than Little Peach's, if he took off her clothes at night, Little 11's body would have big holes and small eyes, or only half a butt or half a chest. Wouldn't that scare him to impotence? "Why? Kang Ming, you don't agree?" Patriarch Shenchen frowned slightly and asked. No, I'm just too happy." Kang Ming was shocked. How could he dare to disagree? This was Patriarch Xuanshen's daughter, and Patriarch Shenchen was the matchmaker himself. If he refused, he would probably be kicked out of the house. Therefore, no matter how unwilling Kang Ming was, he could only pretend to be very happy and said, "This happiness came too quickly. I can't bear it all of a sudden. I'm stunned." "So, you agree?" Patriarch Shenchen asked. Parents' orders are like the words of a matchmaker. Master is like a father. Your arrangement is the will of your disciple," Kang Ming said quickly, but his heart was bleeding. If he knew it would be like this, he wouldn't have asked Little Peach to cancel the marriage. He really regretted it. But what was the use of regretting? Kang Ming could only accept the reality of being married in front of him. All right, since you agree, I'll find a day to hold your wedding. Patriarch Shen Chen nodded in satisfaction. Okay. Kang Ming thought, how could I say no? What a scam. Lin Yi, I'll never forgive you. You crippled this piece of trash and gave her to me. One day, I'll definitely kill you. Kang Ming swore in his heart. Lin Yi returned to the villa from House Sun with Wu Chentian and Flaming Cloud. When Meng Yarrow opened the door, she was slightly taken aback. She didn't expect Lin Yi to be back. When Chentian left the villa, although he didn't say anything, Meng Yarrow didn't think much about it. After all, Chentian often drove out to buy things. Meng Yarrow thought that Chentian was back, but when she saw Lin Yi outside the villa, she was surprised. Lin Yi, you're back? Aren't you still at home? Chapter 3041. I'm back. Something happened at Jingyi's house. I came back in a hurry. Let's talk inside. Lin Yi said to Meng Yarrow. Okay. Meng Yarrow opened the door, and Lin Yi drove the jeep into the yard, but another car drove in right after. Meng Yarrow paused. Lin Yi, whose car is this? But just as she finished asking, she saw Chentian sitting in the driver's seat. Meng Yang, this is Boss Spoils of War. It's quite valuable, a modified Hummer. Chentian quite liked this car. It was quite domineering, but it didn't have as many seats as the jeep, so it couldn't fit more than a few people. This Hummer was Little Yi and Little Eleven's car. Lin Yi was angry, so he took the car for himself. In fact, although it was a modified car, it was only a few million. This amount of money didn't mean much to Lin Yi and Chentian. They were happy that this car belonged to Little Yi. This was a classic case of throwing away a car to save the king. Although the car door was locked, it was nothing to Lin Yi. However, Lin Yi and Chentian didn't know that Little Yi had put his sky-class weapon in the trunk of the Hummer, and Lin Yi didn't search for it. Poor Little Yi, he was waiting for a few days to calm down before sending someone to drive the car back. After all, as far as he was concerned, a locked car on the streets of the common world wouldn't be a problem. On the way, he saw many private cars parked on the side of the road, and nothing happened. But he'd forgotten that he was parked on House Sun's private turf. He could tell with one look that this Hummer with a foreign license plate was probably Xiao Yi's car when he first got here. After parking the car, Meng Yarrow and Lin Yi walked into the villa together, calling out as they walked, "Shu, Lin Yi's back, don't you miss him? Come down." "Oh, Shield Bro's back," Yushu said as she ran down the stairs. She had just finished showering and was drying her hair. She was quite happy, but when she saw Flaming Cloud enter the door with Lin Yi, his expression froze for a moment. "Fire! Fiery Cloud! Shield Bro, why did you let him in?" Yushu hated Hua Mingyun from the bottom of her heart. "He's a bad guy. Shu, do you have some misunderstanding about Fiery Cloud?" Lin Yi was a little puzzled by Yushu's attitude. Yushu looked like she was crazy every day, but she never messed around when it came to big things. Lin Yi felt that there was something wrong with this situation. There's no misunderstanding. This person was barbecuing at the entrance of the villa using martial arts. He's planning to roast Skybolt Pig into a roast suckling pig. Yushu started framing Hua Haiyun. That second sister-in-law. When did I roast suckling pig? Flaming Firecloud was speechless, but he didn't dare to retort, and could only ask with a wry smile. All right. Shu, Hua Haiyun was helping out just now. He was heavily injured by a Sky-class late-phase Peak Master. He's not a bad guy, Lin Yi said to Shu. Oh. Yushu could only sit on the sofa sullenly after seeing that her defamation of Hua Haiyun didn't work out. Boss, second sister-in-law seems to have some misunderstanding about me. Hua Haiyun really couldn't understand how he had offended this child-faced girl. He seemed to have been serious from the moment he arrived, right? And he didn't show any covetous look towards her like some of the other young masters did. There's no misunderstanding, you're the one who's bad. Yushu mumbled. Shu, stop messing around. Meng Yarrow glared at Shu as well. Don't you want to hear Lin Yi's story about his trip to House Sun? Of course I do. Yushu loved listening to Lin Yi's stories the most. Every time Lin Yi came back, she would listen with great interest. She could only give up on attacking Hua Haiyun and shut her mouth. Lin Yi smiled. He didn't know what to do with Shu, but with Hua Haiyun here, he couldn't ask too much. He only turned to Chen Tian. Chen Tian, tell Shu and the others about what happened. Okay. Chen Tian nodded and told Meng Yaro and Yu Shu everything that happened in detail. Meng Yaro and Yu Shu didn't expect that the Xianchen elder would make a move again, and this time it was against House Sun. Sun Jingyi was Forbert's daughter, and Meng Yaro was very concerned about her safety. When Meng Yaro heard about Little 11 using needles to torture Sun Jingyi, her face turned red with anger. Lin Yi, did you teach that Little 11 a lesson after that? Haha. Just keep listening to Wu Chentian. Lin Yi smiled as he turned to Meng Yaro. And so, Meng Yaro could only listen patiently, even though she knew that Sun Jingyi was fine. Otherwise, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to come back so easily. But after listening to Chen Tian's story, Lin Yi gave him a taste of his own medicine, using needles to torture Little 11. She couldn't help but smile excitedly. The miss wasn't a cruel person. In fact, she was very kind. But this time, she was really angry. This Little 11 was the one who tortured Han Jingjing last time, almost killing her, and now it was Sun Jingyi. No matter how kind Meng Yaro was, she couldn't tolerate her anymore. Yu Shu, on the other hand, felt that it wasn't ruthless enough. She interrupted, oh, if Shu was here, we'd tie her to Feng's tail and run 10 laps with her. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly. I want to, but there's no time. If it wasn't for Hua Haiyun stopping Little Yi's attack, I would have had to kill Little 11 immediately. I wouldn't have been able to torture her. Chen Tian continued the story, and Meng Yaro and Shu couldn't help but click their tongues. Luckily, Lin Yi had left Tagan Dragon as a last resort. Otherwise, if Lin Yi had killed Tagan Dragon first, Lin Yi and the others wouldn't have been able to come back. This was something Lin Yi had no other choice. When facing an enemy stronger than himself, he had to find a way out. Otherwise, it would be very dangerous. Of course, if there was no way out, he could only fight with brute force. When Chen Tian finished his story, it was getting late. Hua Haiyun stood up and said his goodbyes. He wasn't a blind person. He knew that Yu Shu didn't like him, and staying here would only make things worse. Chapter 3042. After sending Firecloud away, Lin Yi called out to Yu Shu, who was going upstairs. Shu, why are you in such a hurry to sleep? Don't you have anything to explain to me? Oh, I'm going to take a shower. Yu Shu stuttered. Shower? Didn't you just take a shower? Lin Yi asked as he looked at Yu Shu's wet hair. I'm actually going to help Yaro Yaro scrub. Yu Shu rolled her eyes. Yaro Yaro hasn't showered yet, I'll go help her. It's fine. I'll be fine by myself. You sit here. Meng Yaro said as she pushed Yu Shu back and went upstairs. She knew that Lin Yi wanted to talk to Yu Shu about Firecloud. Although Meng Yaro was curious, she asked Yu Shu about it before and Yu Shu didn't say anything. She could only rely on Lin Yi to ask. Shield bro. You're leaving Shu alone and chasing Yaro Yaro away. Are you going to confess to Shu? Yu Shu looked at Lin Yi with eyes full of love. Phut. Lin Yi was speechless. Shu, look at you, how is this a confession? You're clearly confessing to me. Okay, Shield bro, Shu is confessing to you. Yu Shu heard Lin Yi's words and went along with Lin Yi's words. What do you think of Shu? Can I be your small wife? All right, Shu. Lin Yi's expression turned serious as he looked at Yu Shu. Shu, although you're good at disguising yourself in many situations, we're too familiar with each other. However, we are already too familiar with each other. You want to lie in front of me. I'm afraid you're feeling a little guilty, right? Okay. Shield bro, you're amazing. Now that you know, I'll be happy. Then why did you say? Yu Shu put away her innocent expression and blinked her big, watery eyes at Lin Yi, a little troubled. Shu, why do you hate Firecloud? There must be a reason for this, right? Lin Yi stared at Xiao Shu and asked word by word, there is no love without reason in this world, and there is no hate without reason either. You didn't even know him before, so why would you hate him? In fact, until Hua Yaoshuan left the villa. Lin Yi did not mention anything about going to the Hakunamata desert again. It was also because Lin Yi couldn't figure out the conflict between Xiao Shu and Hua Yayun. Actually, I'm not too sure either. Just as Lin Yi was about to say something, a voice suddenly rang out. Little Shu opened her mouth. Shield bro, do you still remember? I used to have an engagement, right? Engagement? Lin Yi was slightly taken aback. Yes, it's an engagement between me and an ancient sect. Yushu nodded. Achem. Lin Yi thought about it. It seemed like there really was such a thing, but this was a long time ago, before Lin Yi unified the common noble houses. Before the noble house meeting, House Kang wanted to become a noble house, and one of the noble houses had to be eliminated. At that time, people didn't think much of House Chen, but there was a rumor that Yushu was engaged to an ancient sect when she was born. This way, people who wanted to go against House Chen wouldn't dare to do anything rash. Although Lin Yi had heard of this rumor, he didn't think much of it. After all, every noble house would promote themselves before the noble house meeting. It was reasonable for them to make up some lies. But when Shu mentioned it again, Lin Yi remembered. Which ancient sect? I'm not sure, but it should be Flaming Mountain. Yushu lowered her head, feeling a little down. I don't know if it's this fire cloud, but I don't want to have too much to do with Flaming Mountain. So that's how it is. Lin Yi realized that he had wronged Shu. She wasn't being unreasonable, she was just trying to resist this so-called engagement. If it were Lin Yi, he wouldn't feel good with this curse on him. Then I'll ask Firecloud another day. No. Yushu shook her head. Shield bro, please don't ask. Oh? What's wrong? Lin Yi frowned slightly as he looked at Yushu and asked seriously, Shu, is there something you're hiding from me? No. No. Yushu's face froze as she stuttered. No. Lin Yi took a deep breath and decided to have an honest talk with Shu. Lin Yi was a sky class now, and he was no longer the novice he used to be. If Shu had something to hide, Lin Yi wanted to help her solve it and share her burden. He said word by word, last time, you poisoned my tea and tried to kill me with a knife in the middle of the night. I knew about this a long time ago. Ah. Yushu screamed, her face paling. She didn't expect Lin Yi to know everything, and in such detail. But why didn't he say anything? Why was he so nice to her? Shield bro. You know everything. Then. Why didn't you expose me, and still treat me so well? Shu, I believe you have your reasons, and you are not a bad person. You don't want to kill me, right? Lin Yi smiled and said, so I don't blame you. You poured me tea and you spilled it. You tried to kill me with a knife in the middle of the night, but you couldn't do it, lying to me that you were sleepwalking. Well, okay, I'll tell you the truth, but don't tell Yaro Yaro sis, she will be worried. Yushu hesitated and said. Don't worry, I won't tell her. Lin Yi nodded. Pinky promise. Yushu put out her pinky. Haha, okay. Lin Yi pulled Yushu's pinky and said, can you tell me now? I'm not Yu Tian's biological sister, Yushu said weakly. I'm not House Chen's child, I'm an adopted child. Ah? Lin Yi was stunned. He didn't expect Yushu to be an adopted child, not Yu Tian's biological sister. But, Meng Yaro probably didn't know about this. Then does Yu Tian know? Who else in the Chen clan knows about this? Chapter 3043. Someone else? Who? Lin Yi asked. People from the Hidden House Yu. Poisoning you was actually an order from the Hidden House Yu. Since Yushu had already said it, she might as well just tell the truth. Hidden House Yu. Lin Yi frowned. This house, if it wasn't for my friend, I would have killed them like a dog. The hidden level is nothing to be afraid of. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Lin Yi was telling the truth. Back then, the Hidden House Yu was a huge monster to Lin Yi, but now, Lin Yi could destroy the Hidden House Jiao with a flick of his finger, and the Hidden House Yu could do the same. Whether it was Yu Xing or Yu Yi, they weren't Lin Yi's match at all. If Lin Yi wanted to destroy House Yu, it would only be a matter of seconds. My parents were controlled by the Hidden House Yu, or rather, they weren't the ones controlling them. There's a very powerful ancient sect behind them. I'm not sure which sect it is exactly, but I have a feeling that it's not Fiery Mountain, Yushu said, because Fiery Mountain and the Hidden House Yu don't seem to have much of a relationship. The Hidden House Yu controlled your parents. Lin Yi felt that things were getting more and more strange. Then have you seen your parents? Or do you just believe whatever they say? No. Yushu shook her head. They didn't show me pictures of my parents, probably afraid that something would go wrong, but they gave me a bottle of blood and asked me to do a DNA test secretly. I also took my brother's blood for testing, and the results showed that I'm related to the blood they gave me, but my brother isn't. So, this is true? Lin Yi was shocked. Blood was something that couldn't be faked. If it wasn't, it wasn't. Even if Lin Yi was a practitioner, he wouldn't be able to change these things. Yes, that's why I couldn't help it. They only forced me to do one thing, but they didn't tell me to kill you. Killing you was a later mission, but it was probably the hidden house Yu's idea. It had nothing to do with the sect behind them. Shu wasn't stupid, Shield Bro. After you became stronger, they gave up on the plan. The hidden house Yu. What role are they playing? Lin Yi had a sudden realization. Yu Xing seemed to be a very smart man, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to make House Yu the #1 hidden house. He was not as stubborn as Old Man Zhao. This could be seen from the fact that he revoked the order to assassinate him. Once things went south, he would give up. A wise man submits to circumstances. However, he had a good relationship with Yu Bing, and he had an old relationship with Yu Ning. If it was any other hidden house's leader, their first thought would be to rope him in, but the hidden house Yu didn't do that. This also proved that the hidden house Yu had another backer behind them. This backer was extremely strong, even stronger than Lin Yi, so the hidden house Yu couldn't choose Lin Yi. This explained Shu's situation. But, which ancient sect was behind the hidden house Yu? Lin Yi suspected for a long time, but he didn't have any clues. It was impossible for Fiery Mountain and Yellow Earth High Sect. The young masters of these two sects were his followers. It was also impossible for the Dark Palace. They wanted to go against him, but Yui wanted to help him. Ice Palace and Snow Valley were also unlikely. As for the Heavenly Elixir sect, it was the hidden house Yu's backer. It couldn't be the hidden house Yu's backer. Could it be one of the 5 Elements sect or the Everyday and Everyday sect? Thinking of this possibility, Lin Yi's face darkened. These were the 2 strongest existences in the ancient sects, and they had even surpassed the ancient level. But these were all Lin Yi's wild guesses. If it really was the 5 Elements sect or the Everyday and Everyday sect, then Lin Yi should pretend he didn't know anything. Otherwise, if he went to House Yu to help Yushu, the 5 Elements sect and the Everyday and Everyday sect might just kill Yushu's parents. They should be the messengers. Yushu said, Shield Bro, let me tell you a secret. Actually, Shu is also an inheritor. What? Lin Yi paled. Yushu's words shocked Lin Yi. Yushu was an inheritor? Should be, I guessed it myself. Yushu said, the hidden house you told me that I have to stay a virgin because I have an engagement. As long as I do as they say and get married, they'll let my parents go. Oh. You thought of her as an inheritor from the aspect of being a virgin? Lin Yi asked. Yeah, Xiaoxiao's always like that. Then I thought that maybe the marriage was just a cover, and the real thing I wanted to do was to accept the inheritance. Plus, my body keeps getting hot for no reason. Yushu said, I told you before, it's the fire poison. House Yu gives me medicine to suppress it, and if I don't take the medicine, my body will heat up, and I'll die from the heat. It's similar to Xiaoxiao's symptoms. Lin Yi nodded. He remembered that Yushu's body did heat up before, and she got better after taking a medicine. It was said that it was found outside. Lin Yi didn't pay much attention to it, but now it seemed that Yushu and Xiaoxiao were very similar. Flaming Mountain is the birthplace of the fire element. If you go there, you might really accept the fire element's inheritance. Lin Yi said, so. You're afraid that Flaming Cloud will find out that you're the inheritor and not the engagement, right? Yeah, I don't want to go. But I can't. I can only drag it out one day at a time. Yushu said slowly. Shu, it's been hard on you all these years. Lin Yi looked at Yushu sympathetic. What kind of girl was this? Her life was in someone else's hands, and her parents' lives were in someone else's hands. She, on the other hand, had to force a smile on her face in order to hide the pain in her heart. She'd been smiling every day, but it was just an act. She looked like she liked to mess around, but she knew everything. She wasn't stupid at all. I'm used to it. Yushu smiled. Lin Yi bro, don't tell Yaro Yaro sis, I don't want her to worry. She's a person with a lot of things on her mind, and I'm afraid that she'll be sad if she finds out. Chapter 3044. The miss was indeed the type of person who kept everything to herself. Not letting her know about it was for her own good. Just call me Shield bro, I'm not used to it yet. Yushu smiled. I'll help you find out about Flaming Mountain's inheritance. As for House Yu, I'll find a chance to ask Yu Bing. Don't worry, since they're asking you to do something, they won't do anything to your parents for now. They're still safe for now. Lin Yi comforted, but it's not too long until this situation is broken. Once I increase my strength again, I'll be able to kill a Sky-class late phase peak in one hit. Then, I'll be in charge of everything in the world of practitioners. The rules will also be set by me. Lin Yi had this kind of pride now. From a common noble house to a hidden noble house, Lin Yi had already started to step into the ancient level. In the near future, Lin Yi might stand at the top of the pyramid of the ancient level. At that time, all the ancient sects would be the same as the hidden sects. They would either surrender or be annihilated. Yes, Shu believes that Shield Bro has the strength. Yushu had always trusted Lin Yi. Let's call it a day. I'll pay attention to this. Lin Yi said to Yushu. Okay, I'm going to sleep now. I'm so sleepy. Yushu yawned as she wobbled her way up the stairs, back to her usual crazy self. Looking at Yushu's back, Lin Yi sighed. So, Shu had always been unhappy. Her happiness was just a disguise. He went back to his room. Lin Yi called Boss Bai. With so many things happening today, Lin Yi had to talk to Boss Bai. Also, Lin Yi had to ask Boss Bai about Yushu. Yi, why are you calling me so late? You're back. Boss Bai's voice came from the phone. Teacher Bai, I just returned to East Ocean City, but something happened, and I need to tell you, Lin Yi said. Oh, what's up? Boss Bai took a sip of tea. Since Lin Yi wanted to talk to him so late at night, it must be something important. Xian Chen, he sent Little 1 and Little 10 to cause trouble again, Lin Yi said. What? They're here again. Boss Bai was surprised at first after hearing Lin Yi's words, and then there was anger in his voice. He made a deal with me before. He won't make a move against you, but he actually dares to break the agreement. Not me, but Sun Jingyi. Lin Yi said, I'm guessing that he's just playing on the edge. He feels that if he touches Sun Jingyi, he's not touching me, nor your disciple, and you can't find fault with him. Xian Chen, this guy. Boss Bai listened to Lin Yi's words. Thinking of Xuanchen's character, he was very supportive of Lin Yi's guess. Yes, it should be like this. Is Sun Jingyi in danger? What's going on? It's like this. Lin Yi told what happened today in detail. He told Boss Bai everything. Treating Tagan Dragon? However, you actually disabled Little 11. I'm afraid Xian Chen will not let this matter go. Hearing that Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi and the others were all fine. While Boss Bai was relieved, he also began to worry about Lin Yi. Even without Little 11. Will Patriarch Xian Chen let me off just like that? He has always wanted to kill me, and it has never changed. Now he just has an agreement with you, so he hasn't made a move yet. Lin Yi said. That's true. Boss Bai thought about it, and it was indeed the case. So he said, don't worry, this time it was Xian Chen who provoked you first. You only fought back. If they come looking for me, I'll talk to them. Ian, one more thing. Do you know about the inheritor of Fiery Mountain? Lin Yi asked. Oh, Fiery Mountain? They do have an inheritor, but I don't know about the specific progress. Because this matter has always been handled by Xian Chen and Little Yi, I have never been in contact with it. Boss Bai said. Oh. So, the inheritor of Fiery Mountain is also arranged by Five Element Sect? Lin Yi was slightly stunned after hearing Boss Bai's words. He had guessed that behind House Yu, it might be either Five Element Sect or Everyday and Everyday Sect, but he didn't expect it to be Five Element Sect. It must be arranged by Xian Chen or Little Yi. They have been in charge of this matter, but why do you ask? Oh, right, You just said that Hua Mingyun from Fiery Mountain helped you to deal with Little Yi. Are you afraid that Fiery Mountain will take revenge? After a slight daze, Boss Bai said, the Five Elements sect doesn't dare to offend the Fiery Mountain. After all, the Fiery Mountain is also very powerful. Although the inheritors are cultivated in cooperation, if the Fiery Mountain is really provoked, it will be very difficult for Shen Chen to cultivate an inheritor of the fire element. I see, but I'm not afraid of Shen Chen ancestors' revenge. Lin Yi shook his head and said, Little Yi doesn't even know Hua Mingyun's identity, and he didn't introduce himself. I think he just thought of him as my little brother. What I want to ask is, did Fiery Mountain find an inheritor? I'm even more unclear about this. You should ask Hua Mingyun directly. Boss Bai said. Okay, I'll ask him then. After knowing that Shen Chen was behind this, Lin Yi decided to ignore it for now. After all, Yushu's parents wouldn't be in any danger before she completely accepted the inheritance, and Lin Yi didn't have the ability to flatten Five Elements sect at the moment. This debt would be settled with them in the future. Bringing Yushu along would just be settling old and new debts at the same time. Master Bai, I have a prescription here. The herbs on it are rather rare. Do you have any? Oh, tell me about it. Boss Bai said. Sealwort, white wormwood, netherworld grass, red withered wood. Lin Yi was talking about the herbs used to strengthen meridians for the third level of the art of dragon mastery. Old Lin only had a small portion of these herbs. He didn't have the rest, so Lin Yi didn't dare to recklessly replace them. He could only prepare to look for them slowly. I don't have these things. They are all rare herbs. If you are not in a hurry, I have some seeds that I can plant for you. But it is already winter now. We can only plant them in spring next year. The cycle is a bit longer. Boss Bai said. Chapter 3045. According to what Boss Bai said, it would take at least next summer for the herbs to be harvested, and Lin Yi couldn't wait that long. If you are in a hurry, I suggest you go to the cultivators' market. They sell these medicinal materials all year round. Boss Bai said. Right. Lin Yi slapped his forehead. How could he forget the cultivators' market? Lin Yi planned to get some elixirs and then exchange them for some necessary medicinal materials at the cultivators' market. Although the auction had not been held yet, and the elixirs could be sold for cash, the Cultivator Association could also barter. It was feasible to exchange some medicinal materials with elixirs. Thinking of this, Lin Yi planned to contact the vice president of the Cultivator Association tomorrow and exchange some elixirs that Han Jingjing had refined in his hands for the medicinal materials he needed. After making the decision, Lin Yi continued to condense the forging fire. This was the only thing Lin Yi could do before cultivating the third level of the art of dragon mastery. After today's experiment, Lin Yi could already use the 9 needles of Fushi more skillfully, but Lin Yi's current strength level was limited, and the power of the 9 needles of Fushi was also limited. The next morning, Boss Bai had just woken up when he received a call from Patriarch Shen Chen. Boss Bai glanced at the caller ID on the phone and sneered in his heart. I haven't found trouble with Patriarch Shen Chen yet, but he called first. Could it be that he called to apologize? However, Boss Bai still picked up the phone, but his tone was a little cold. Shen Chen? What's the matter? Senior brother Shen Chen, there is something I have to apologize to you. Patriarch Shen Chen felt very vexed and aggrieved. Little 11 was crippled, and he had to take the initiative to apologize to him, but there was no way, he had to do so. Oh! Boss Bai was stunned after hearing Patriarch Xuanchen's words. Did this Patriarch Shen Chen change his nature? Before. He just guessed casually, but he didn't really think that Patriarch Shen Chen was here to apologize to him. He knew Patriarch Xuanchen's character. How could this person take the initiative to apologize to him? Before. I didn't know that Sun Jingyi is your disciple's wife, so I sent Little 1 and Little 11. However, this is also for Tagan Long. You also know how important Tagan Long is to our Five-Element sect. If our Five-Element sect wants to return to that level, we must do this. Patriarch Shen Chen sighed. Shen Chen. Then according to your wishes. Even if you know that Sun Jingyi is Lin Yi's wife. You would do the same for Tagan Dragon, wouldn't you? Boss Bai retorted. This That's definitely not possible. I will discuss it with you in advance, and if you don't agree, I'll find another way. Patriarch Shen Chen paused and said weakly, "Is that so?" Boss Bai smiled non-committally. "All right. I accept your apology. Is there anything else?" Eldest senior brother, do you think little Yi's car was driven away by Lin Yi? Patriarch Black Earth asked carefully. "Oh, a car. What are you going to do?" Boss Bai really didn't know that Lin Yi had driven little Yi's car away, and Lin Yi didn't mention this on the phone yesterday. Moreover, Boss Bai really didn't know what was the big deal about a car. As for Patriarch Shen Chen, did he have to specifically ask about it? The five-element sect wasn't poor. It's like this. Little Yi left in a hurry and didn't take out his heaven-grade weapon in the trunk of the car. Do you think you can return it to him? This was the purpose of Patriarch Xuanshen's call today. Otherwise, he would never take the initiative to apologize to Boss Bai. At most, he would apologize when Boss Bai questioned him. If Boss Bai didn't say anything, he would pretend not to know. However, after Little Yi left this morning, he quickly returned. The person Little Yi sent to look for a car near the Sun family didn't see Little Yi's car at all. This person wasn't a high-level cultivator and didn't dare to go to the Sun family to ask for trouble. He could only truthfully report the situation to Little Yi. Little Yi's first thought was that it was taken away by Lin Yi. Otherwise, other than Lin Yi, who would steal his car? Thinking of this, Little Yi was really regretful and hateful. If he had gotten out of the car with his heaven-grade weapon, wouldn't it have been a different scene? He wouldn't have lost so easily. At the very least, it would have been extremely easy to get rid of Hua Mingyun, Wu Chentian, and Lin Yi. Even if Hua Mingyun was at the peak of the late stage of Heaven stage, he still had the absolute advantage to kill him. However, a heaven-grade master without a divine weapon was the same as an earth-grade master who couldn't use martial arts. It was equivalent to having his arm cut off. He had strength but couldn't use it. It was simply too useless. And now, the car was taken away by Lin Yi. The car wasn't important, but the heaven-class weapon in the car was important. So, Little Yi had no choice but to seek help from the Shen Chen old ancestor, asking him to help him get his heaven-class weapon back. So, in desperation, the Shen Chen ancestor could only call Boss Bai humbly. He knew about Little Yi's heaven-grade weapon. It was also one of the strongest heaven-grade weapons in the five-element sect, and it was the most suitable for Little Yi. With this weapon in hand, Little Yi could use his full strength and fight against enemies of a higher level. But without this weapon in hand, Little Yi was like a tiger without teeth. So even if the Shen Chen ancestor was useless, he had to call Boss Bai. I can't say for sure. Lin Yi didn't tell me about the car. Maybe it was stolen by some car thief. After hearing this, Boss Bai said indifferently, moreover, Sun Jingyi was injured. Didn't you say anything afterwards? This. Of course, we have to say something. Aren't we discussing it now? Let's see what you need. I'll provide some for you. We don't know what you lack. The Shen Chen ancestor could only say so. Oh, then I'll ask Lin Yi when I have time. See if he saw your heaven-grade weapon. Boss Bai said casually, but his tone sounded like he was just dealing with it. It didn't seem like he really took it to heart. Then I'll have to trouble you, big senior brother. The Shen Chen ancestor was also helpless. He didn't dare to urge Boss Bai to do things. He could only think of urging him after a while. Chapter 3046. This made the Shen Chen ancestor feel helpless. He looked at Little Yi beside him and said angrily, "Why are you so careless? We are in the wrong in this matter. Your heaven-class weapon was left in the car and Lin Yi took it. Can he still return it to you?" This. Little one said bitterly, "Lin Yi is too treacherous, even more treacherous than you. He couldn't beat me, so he sent his spirit beast to attack Tagan Dragon. You know, too, that spirit beast's strength is only at the peak of the late phase of Earth class, a whole level lower than mine. But that spirit beast's skin is thick, and my attacks didn't do much damage to it. If I had been determined to kill Lin Yi, it wouldn't have been impossible. That Tagan Dragon would have been killed by that spirit beast." The Shen Chen ancestor nodded. He was just saying it out of anger. This matter really couldn't be blamed on little Yi. Thus, the Shenchen ancestor said to little Yi, "Send someone to keep a close eye on Lin Yi's whereabouts. See if the heaven-class weapon is in Lin Yi's hands. If it really is, we'll think of a way to see it. If not, we'll trade with him. If it really doesn't work, hire the Bloodcloak Underworld sect to snatch it. It'll be fine as long as they don't have anything to do with our 5 Elements sect." "Yes, I'll send someone to do this immediately." Little Yi nodded. This was related to him, so of course he was very concerned. After Little Yi left, he immediately sent the outer members of the 5 Elements sect, the Hidden House Yu, to keep an eye on Lin Yi. Yu Yi of the Hidden House Yu was originally responsible for connecting with Yushu, so after adding an additional task, it was just a small effort and didn't add much burden. Lin Yi was preparing to go to the trade association early in the morning. He took out all the pills that Han Jingjing had refined and put them in the car. Then, Lin Yi went straight to the trade association. "Hello. Is this the vice president of the trade association, Ouyang?" As soon as Lin Yi got on the car, he dialed the number listed on the golden business card. "It's me. Who are you?" Vice President Ouyang asked after picking up the phone. "I'm Lin Yi. Do you remember me, Vice President Ouyang?" Lin Yi said the name he had used at the trade association. "Oh, it's Mr. Ling. Hello, why are you looking for me?" Vice President Ouyang immediately thought of Lin Yi, the man who was able to activate the 13th style of the heaven-class martial art with the strength of a peak mid-earth class. Among his friends, there was no special case like Lin Yi, so his memory of Lin Yi was still fresh. It seems that Vice President Ouyang hasn't forgotten me. It's like this. I have a batch of pills in my hands. I want to sell them. I don't know if Vice President Ouyang is interested." Lin Yi asked. "The trade association hasn't started a new market auction yet. It's not impossible for you to bring the pills now, but you won't be able to sell them at a good price. Moreover, we only support bartering at the moment. You can't exchange them for cash. Are you sure you want to do this? You will lose a lot this way." Vice President Ouyang was still very afraid of Lin Yi, so he explained the stakes to Lin Yi in detail. If it was someone else, Vice President Ouyang would be able to trick them, but not Lin Yi. "It doesn't matter. I'm just going to barter," Lin Yi said. "Then I'll go find you now?" "That's fine. I'm in the office of the previous market. You can come directly. Just report your name and show your strength. Then, you can come in. The market usually accepts bartering," Vice President Ouyang said. "Okay, see you in a while," Lin Yi said. After that, Lin Yi drove to the trade association. This was the second time Lin Yi had come to the trade association. He parked the car at the foot of the trade association's mountain. Lin Yi took the pills and rushed up the mountain. The same mountain gate, there were still 2 guards at the door, but they weren't the same people as last time. The last person had been killed by Lin Yi. These 2 people obviously didn't want to follow the footsteps of the previous gatekeeper. They didn't make things difficult for those who came here, so Lin Yi entered the trade association smoothly. Lin Yi didn't stop. He went straight to the office and found Vice President Ouyang, who was on duty here. "Vice President Ouyang, long time no see. How have you been?" Lin Yi smiled and walked forward to greet him. "Mr. Ling, you're here. Please take a seat." When Vice President Ouyang saw Lin Yi, a smile immediately appeared on his face. He was clear about Lin Yi's strength, so he naturally didn't dare to neglect him. "May I ask, what do you want to exchange for this time?" "The pills I brought this time are all here. Vice President Ouyang, please take a look. As for what to exchange, I have a list here. You can take a look." As Lin Yi spoke, he handed the pills he brought and the medicinal ingredients he needed to Vice President Ouyang. As for the pills that Lin Yi brought this time, most of them were first-grade pills that Han Jingjing obtained when she was bored. Lin Yi didn't have much use for them in his hands, and their value wasn't high, so Lin Yi directly took them to exchange for what he needed. First-grade pills. So many. What Vice President Ouyang saw in his eyes was business opportunities, not the grade of the pills. In a commercial organization like theirs, although first-grade pills were low-grade, they were also best-selling products. So he didn't think that the pills were low-grade at all. As long as there were benefits, he liked it. There's no problem with the pills. We can eat all of them. We just have to see if we have the medicinal ingredients you need. Okay. Lin Yi nodded and said, Vice President Ouyang, take a look first. Vice President Ouyang carefully looked at the list of medicinal ingredients that Lin Yi brought over and then said, Here, only 2 medicinal ingredients are rare medicinal ingredients. The price is relatively high, and one of them is extremely precious. We only have one in stock, but the amount you need is relatively small. We still have enough here. Oh, we have all of them. That's great. Then can these pills of mine be exchanged? After listening to Vice President Ouyang's words, Lin Yi was suddenly surprised and happy, and quickly asked. Chapter 3047. I understand, you guys also need to do business, as long as you can gather all these medicinal herbs of mine. Lin Yi nodded and said, he didn't want to care about these small things, after all, he could exchange these medicinal herbs here. Lin Yi was already very happy. For Lin Yi, to be able to smoothly reach the 3rd level of the art of dragon mastery was better than anything else. It could be said that money couldn't buy it. That's good, I'll take you to the medicinal herb store to pick up the goods. Vice President Ouyang nodded and put away Lin Yi's medicinal pillbox, then stood up and prepared to take Lin Yi to the medicinal herb store. The medicinal herb store was a shop opened by the market itself. In normal times, it also sold some medicinal herbs and ordinary medicinal pills, but the selling price was extremely expensive, usually mainly focused on barter, not monetary transactions. Lin Yi followed Vice President Ouyang to the medicinal herb store, which was located in the southernmost part of the market. It was not open before, only opened during non-market hours, to provide some convenience for some people. However, the prices of the items here were very high, and the barter was at a disadvantage, so there were not many customers here. Most of them were not in a hurry, and were waiting for the market square auction to come here to buy things. Only those who were in urgent need would shop at this time. Prepare all the medicinal herbs on this list. Vice President Ouyang directly found a shop on duty, handed Lin Yi's medicinal herb list to him, and said to him, Yes, Vice President. The person took the list, quickly responded, and went to prepare the goods, while Lin Yi sat at the side of the resting area with the Vice President, chatting casually. Mr. Ling, it seems that you have a lot of medicinal pills in your hands. How long has it been? You sent another batch of medicinal pills. You have more than one alchemist by your side, right? Vice President Ouyang asked. In his opinion, with so many medicinal pills, even if it was a second-grade alchemist, it would be impossible to refine so many in such a short period of time, even if he refined every day without rest, because there was always a possibility that it would be wasted, right? Besides, no one could refine medicinal pills every day without rest. There was still time for physical recovery. Maybe 3 or 4. Lin Yi said faintly. Actually, Lin Yi wasn't lying to him. Han Jingjing, Boss Bai, Guan Xin, and himself were exactly 4, so it was 3 or 4. Vice President Ouyang's gaze towards Lin Yi changed slightly. 3 or 4 alchemists. This sect was not small. Generally, ancient sects only had 1 alchemist, and many didn't even have one. Even the Heavenly Elixir sect didn't have more than 10 alchemists, but Lin Yi's sect had 3 or 4. Moreover, Lin Yi's sect was good at fighting enemies of a higher level. Lin Yi could activate the Heaven rank martial arts when he was in the Earth rank, which made Vice President Ouyang admire the mysterious force behind Lin Yi very much, but he didn't dare to ask more at will. He just sighed and said, No wonder Mr. Ling has so many medicinal pills. It turns out that there are many alchemists. Lin Yi smiled non-committally. Han Jingjing's method of alchemy was not something that ordinary people could understand, and Lin Yi didn't intend to say it. Over there, the medicinal ingredients were being prepared, and all the medicinal ingredients were placed in a box on the counter. This was the territory of the trade association, so there was no fear that someone would dare to steal things. However, just as a medicinal ingredient was placed in the box, a person who came here to buy things not far away couldn't help but exclaim, walked over quickly, picked up the medicinal ingredient that had just been placed in the small box, looked at it carefully, and said, I want this medicinal ingredient. Ah! After hearing this person's words, the person was slightly stunned, but said, I'm sorry, This medicinal ingredient has already been reserved by someone else. If it's reserved, won't you give him another share? The person snorted impatiently, then took out a bank card. Isn't the price on it 50 million? I want it. Swipe the card directly. This. The person didn't have the person's bank card, but said, I'm sorry, sir, this medicinal ingredient, there is only one left. If you need it, please come back next year. Next year? Is there something wrong with your head? I want it now. You can just ask the other person to wait until next year. The person said overbearingly, and after that, he took the medicinal ingredient in his hand. It seemed that he didn't intend to put it down. This was the territory of the trade association, and these people were not allowed to behave atrociously, so his face darkened, and he said, Are you here? Don't you know where this place is? Vice President, someone is forcing people to buy and sell here. Forcing people to buy and sell? What the hell are you shouting for? The person snorted coldly, and directly slapped half of the person's face, making it look like a steamed bun. The person spun a few times on the ground before stopping. At this time, Vice President Ouyang and Lin Yi also saw the situation here. This was the trade association's matter, so Vice President Ouyang naturally had to take care of it. That medicinal ingredient was prepared for Lin Yi, and now that someone had interfered, Lin Yi naturally couldn't sit back and do nothing. So, both of them stood up and walked towards the person. That was a master in the early phase of Earth class, and now that he was slapped, he immediately flew into a rage out of humiliation. He didn't think that the other party would dare to hit someone here, and he didn't circulate his true chi to protect himself, so he was completely caught off guard. He pointed at the person, so angry that he couldn't speak. You're here. Don't you know where you are? How dare you be here? Don't you want to live? Vice President Ouyang sneered, revealing his peak early phase heaven-class strength. Bang! Another slap, directly slapped on Vice President Ouyang's face. An expert with peak mid-phase heaven-class strength. No wonder this person was so arrogant, so it turned out that his own strength was tyrannical. This time, Vice President Ouyang was also stunned. He had the strength of peak early phase heaven-class strength, and usually it was more than enough to hold the line here. Who would have thought that this person was actually a peak mid-phase heaven-class strength? I just want to buy something. If you buy it for me, then we'll live in peace. If you don't sell it to me, then don't blame me for being impolite. The person said coldly to Vice President Ouyang. Chapter 3048. Vice President Ouyang's expression changed. Although Lin Yi was powerful, he was only an Earth stage master. It was already extraordinary for him to be able to defeat a peak early stage heaven stage. In Vice President Ouyang's opinion, Lin Yi could only fight him to a draw. Therefore, when this peak mid-stage heaven stage master interfered, it put him in a difficult position. After all, the cultivation world was like this. The weak were prey to the strong. Wasn't it the same for Lin Yi in the past? After intimidating Vice President Ouyang, Vice President Ouyang looked at him in a new light. Although he was angry at being slapped, the other party was strong. Vice President Ouyang could only swallow his anger and say, Sir, this medicinal herb was reserved by Mr. Ling. If you want it, you can talk to him directly. Please don't make things difficult for our Cultivator Trading Association. Moreover, although you are a peak mid-stage heaven stage master, our Cultivator Trading Association still has a higher level of strength. Aren't you afraid of revenge? The cultivator nodded. After listening to Vice President Ouyang's words, he didn't make things difficult for him anymore. Instead, he turned to look at Lin Yi. Kid, this is your medicinal herb. Give it to me, and I won't kill you. Otherwise, even if you get it, you won't be able to use it. Oh. You mean, if I don't give it to you, you'll kill me and take it? Lin Yi looked at the cultivator with interest. He started chanting. Suddenly, his heaven stage early stage strength was revealed. Heaven stage early stage? You dare to show it in front of me? The cultivator looked at Lin Yi sarcastically and said, Yes, you can understand it this way. I'm threatening you. Don't doubt my words. I'll do what I say. If you dare to say no, I can kill you right now. This medicinal herb is exactly what I need. I must get it. Is that so? Then you can die. Lin Yi sneered and used the 9th move of the Frenzy 8 Trigram's palm. Vice President Ouyang faintly narrowed his eyes. When Lin Yi revealed his early heaven rank strength, Vice President Ouyang was startled. Lin Yi didn't have this kind of strength before, but how long had it been? Moreover, Lin Yi was now in the early phase of Sky Class. Based on Lin Yi's previous pattern of fighting those stronger than him, this Sky Class mid-phase peak practitioner was really dangerous. Sure enough, Vice President Ouyang's guess was right. With a loud boom, the cultivator's body flew out directly. When he fell to the ground, there was a big bloody hole in his chest. The corner of his mouth was full of blood foam. He kept struggling on the ground, but it was likely that he would never get up again in this life. You, actually, dared to kill my Dongfang family's elder. Our Dongfang family won't forgive you. The cultivator used the last of his strength to say these few words. He couldn't hold it anymore. His eyes rolled and he died. Vice President Ouyang's mouth twitched twice. The gaze he used to look at Lin Yi changed from equal respect to awe. What kind of power was this? In one move, he killed a peak heaven stage mid-stage expert. If Lin Yi wanted to kill him, it would be a piece of cake. Thinking of this, Vice President Ouyang couldn't help but feel a little regretful for his actions just now. He didn't clearly help Lin Yi. He only stood from the perspective of the Cultivator Trade Association and chose to ignore the matter. Dongfang family? Lin Yi frowned slightly. What kind of family was this? Was it also an ancient family? But no matter what, he was killed. Although Lin Yi didn't take the initiative to cause trouble, he wasn't afraid of it. This Dongfang family would be a stepping stone for him to set foot on the ancient level. Lin Yi believed that even if he didn't kill him, he would do everything possible to snatch the medicinal herbs in his hands. If he let him go back and inform the Dongfang family, a large number of people would come looking for Lin Yi. Then, Lin Yi would be in even more trouble. Vice President Ouyang, what did you see? Lin Yi turned to look at Vice President Ouyang and asked in a gloomy voice. Although Lin Yi knew that Vice President Ouyang's actions were understandable when he asked the cultivator to look for Lin Yi, he also had some resentment towards Vice President Ouyang. So, his tone was very impolite. Senior Ling, I didn't see anything. Vice President Ouyang's entire body trembled. He jumped in fright and hurriedly said, "Oh, then how did this elder of the Dongfang family die?" Lin Yi asked faintly. "I don't know. It seems that he was fighting with a disciple of another ancient sect, but when we rushed over, the other person had already run away. This person from the Dongfang family is already dead, right?" After Vice President Ouyang finished speaking, he turned to look at the disciple who prepared the medicinal herbs. "Ah, yes, he died very miserably, but I don't know how he died." The disciple also nodded and said, "Hee." Lin Yi smiled and looked at the disciple. "My medicinal herbs, are they ready?" In fact, Lin Yi also knew that it was impossible to hide today's matter completely, because there was no such thing as an impenetrable wall in the world. Vice President Ouyang and this disciple swore so confidently in front of him, but in the face of a peak late-stage heaven stage expert who was stronger than him, Lin Yi didn't believe that they wouldn't tell the truth. Moreover, those who hid before, although they didn't see what happened later, they could roughly guess it. Even if they didn't know Lin Yi's identity and only knew that Lin Yi was called Ling Yi, those who were observant could also associate Lin Yi's identity from those few trials. This was only a matter of time. However, what Lin Yi lacked was precisely time. As long as Lin Yi was given a period of time, Lin Yi believed that he had enough strength, then the Dongfang family would have to think twice if they wanted to touch him. So, Lin Yi didn't particularly care. Right away, the disciple hurriedly said in fear and trepidation. "Hurry up, also, prepare a few portions of elixir refining materials for spirit gathering pill, small qi gathering pill, small circulation pill, and other elixir refining materials for Senior Ling. Consider it our Cultivator Trade Association's repayment to our old customer." Vice President Ouyang had previously offended Lin Yi, so at this moment, he had no choice but to compromise and build a good relationship with Lin Yi. Chapter 3049. Haha, Vice Chairman Ouyang, many thanks. It looks like we can cooperate for a long time in the future. Lin Yi smiled faintly and patted Vice Chairman Ouyang's shoulder. Of course, of course. Vice Chairman Ouyang sighed in relief. It looked like Lin Yi wasn't going to pursue the matter any further. Soon, the medicinal ingredients Lin Yi needed and some medicinal ingredients needed for alchemy were packed for Lin Yi. Lin Yi didn't stay for long and directly left the trade association. However, Lin Yi's trip was noticed by one person. That person was the hidden house Yu Yi. Yu Yi was also a heaven-rank powerhouse. It wasn't easy for him to follow Lin Yi without being discovered by Lin Yi. It was just that Lin Yi didn't think that he would be followed. He had just advanced to the heaven rank and didn't like to use his heaven rank perception, but then again, Rain One had followed them from a very far distance, and he had relied on luck to get here. He had also hidden his aura, so it was normal that Lin Yi didn't notice him. After all, Rain One was a sky-class master who had been famous for a long time. Seeing Lin Yi leave, Yu Yi didn't follow him. Instead, he called the old ancestor of House Yu, Yuxing Yu Yi. How is it? Did Lin Yi take out that heaven-grade weapon? Yuxing asked. Lin Yi went to the trade association. I originally thought that Lin Yi wanted to trade that heaven-grade weapon, but I found out that I was wrong. Lin Yi came here to sell medicinal pills. He sold a large number of first-grade medicinal pills and a small number of second-grade medicinal pills. Yu Yi said, because the elixir sent by Lin Yi was put up for sale, and the association also specially advertised that it was the same high-quality elixir from the previous auction, provided by Mr. Ling. Therefore, Yu Yi didn't need to investigate at all to see the purpose of Lin Yi's visit this time. Oh! Yu Yuxing was a little surprised. Lin Yi went to the trading association to sell pills? Yes, but during this time, Lin Yi had a conflict with a peak heaven rank middle stage expert. That expert was instantly killed by Lin Yi. Yu Yi didn't see the situation with his own eyes, but looking at Elder Dongfang's body, he could imagine how strong Lin Yi was. He was worried. Lin Yi's growth was unstoppable. House Yu was no longer Lin Yi's opponent. What? Lin Yi can instantly kill a peak mid-stage heaven-rank powerhouse? Yu Yuxing was aghast when he heard that. Who is that person? I don't know. Do we need to investigate? Yu Yi asked. No need. Don't provoke Lin Yi for this kind of trivial matter. We, House Yu, shouldn't have any conflict with him in the future. Although we can't refuse the mission from that place, we can't let the hidden House Yu become cannon fodder for Lin Yi because of them, Yu Yuxing said. Yes, I understand. Yu Yi nodded. Continue to follow him. See where the heaven-class weapon is. See if it's still with Lin Yi. Yu Yuxing ordered. Yes, old master. Yu Yi replied. After hanging up the call, Yu Yuxing called Xiao Yi right away. He was in charge of contacting the hidden House Yu. Senior, this is Yu Yuxing. I followed Lin Yi and got some information about Lin Yi's whereabouts, but I didn't get any information about your heaven-class weapon. Yu Yuxing said carefully. No. Xiao Yi frowned. Where did Lin Yi go? Lin Yi went to the Slave Trading Association and then went home. Yu Yuxing said. The Slave Trading Association? Are you sure he didn't go to sell my heaven-class weapon? Xiao Yi frowned. I don't think so. Lin Yi sold some first-level elixirs and some second-level elixirs in exchange for some herbs. He didn't sell anything else. Yu Yuxing said. I see. Xiao Yi nodded. Then is my car with Lin Yi? Well, Yu Yi doesn't dare go near Lin Yi's house. You know that Lin Yi is a sky class now. I'm afraid of being found out. Yu Yuxing said. Then why don't you send a normal person to check? Xiao Yi asked. Well, I'll send someone to check. Yu Yuxing wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and said. Although he was one of the strongest hidden houses, he was still trembling in fear when facing Little One. He didn't dare to resist. He was someone who could destroy the hidden House Yu with a snap of his fingers. Okay, if there's any news, report to me immediately, Xiao Yi said. Yu Yuxing hung up carefully and sighed. He had no choice. Between Lin Yi and the Five Elements sect, it was hard for him to do anything. If Lin Yi was weak, it would be fine, but Lin Yi was strong enough. Xiao Yi and Xiao Yi had lost to Lin Yi. This put the Hidden House Yu in a difficult position. They didn't want to offend anyone, but since they had chosen the Five Elements sect, the price of betrayal was even higher. They could only go down this path. Xiao Yi hung up the phone and went to see the Xianchen ancestor. He repeated what Yu Yuxing said to the Xianchen ancestor in detail. Lin Yi is going to sell pills. The Xianchen ancestor fell into deep thought after hearing Yu Yuxing's words. Kang Mingming was also there. He was now the son-in-law of the Xianchen ancestor. Their relationship was naturally closer. There were pros and cons to this matter. Although he married a disabled woman, his relationship with the Xianchen ancestor was even comparable to Xiao Yi's. Father-in-law, I heard that Lin Yi is in a difficult situation now. The company owes a lot of debts, and the only way for Lin Yi to make money now is to sell pills. Why don't we join forces with the Hidden House Yu and get more pills to hit the market? This way, Lin Yi's pills won't be able to sell so many. Although we can't touch Lin Yi, we can take a roundabout route and use this method to attack Lin Yi. It's actually not a bad idea, Kang Mingming suggested after listening. Chapter 3050. Alright, father-in-law, I'll go do that right now. Kang Mingming's house had been bankrupted by Lin Yi's Miracle Doctor Guan Company, so naturally, he wouldn't let go of the opportunity to get rid of Lin Yi. What Lin Yi didn't know was that Kang Mingming was up to something again, trying to ruin his business. Lin Yi couldn't care less about that now. He had prepared all the ingredients needed for the third stage of the art of dragon mastery, and Lin Yi started brewing the medicine. With the experience from last time, Lin Yi was familiar with the process, but he didn't rush it. He followed the instructions on the silk scroll strictly. After everything was ready, Lin Yi called for Hu Mingyun and Wu Chentian. Lin Yi had wanted to talk about the inheritor, but Lin Yi couldn't wait to finish the meridian strengthening, so Lin Yi decided to wait until he was done. Chentian, Mingyun, I'm preparing to finish the meridian strengthening, and I'll need to go into isolation for a while. It won't take long, a few hours if I'm fast, but I can't move during this time, so I'll have to rely on you guys to protect me. Lin Yi said. This was different from practicing, and if something happened, Lin Yi could just jump out of the liquid forcefully, but the effect wouldn't be the same, and the liquid would be wasted. This was a herb that Lin Yi had gone through a lot of trouble to get his hands on. He'd even killed an elder of House Dongfang for the sake of this rare herb. How could he let it go to waste for something so ordinary? No problem, boss, we'll sit at the door and wait for you, to finish strengthening the meridians. Hua Xianyun was the first to express his opinion. Although he did not know what strengthening meridians was, he had never heard of it due to his status and knowledge in the ancient sect. However, every mantra was different, so even though Hua Xianyun was curious, he did not ask. Chen Tian, on the other hand, was already used to guarding Lin Yi. He didn't even need to say anything. He nodded and sat in the hall, guarding Lin Yi's door. After returning to his room, Lin Yi followed the instructions on the meridian strengthening recipe, and after drinking it, he jumped into a pot of dark green liquid. In an instant, Lin Yi felt a burning sensation on his skin, as if he had jumped into a pot of boiling water. In fact, when Lin Yi jumped into the pot, he was already prepared to resist the cold. Last time when Lin Yi refined his body, he would feel a bone-chilling cold when he jumped in, but this time, Lin Yi didn't expect that it would heat up. This caught Lin Yi off guard. Luckily, Lin Yi's constitution was better, and his ability to resist heat was stronger. Otherwise, Lin Yi would have really jumped out of the pot. Gritting his teeth, Lin Yi endured it silently. This was a test he had to go through before he stepped into the third stage of the art of dragon mastery. Lin Yi could only successfully practice the third stage of the art of dragon mastery if he persevered. The time it took to strengthen the meridians was different from the body refinement. The body refinement needed 24 hours, while the meridians only needed 4 hours. As a result, it was easier for him to get through this time than last time. As Lin Yi expected, the dark green liquid became lighter and lighter as time passed. Lin Yi knew that this was his body absorbing the liquid. It was the same last time. After Lin Yi's body absorbed the liquid, it began to expel the impurities from his body, completing the body tempering process. But this time, what surprised Lin Yi was that the color of the liquid kept becoming lighter. It wasn't like when body tempering, where the toxins were expelled after absorption. This time, it seemed to be completely absorbed into his body. No wonder the meridian strengthening time was shorter this time. It turned out that it was only the absorption process, and not the detoxification process. About 4 hours later, the liquid completely turned into a clear color, which made Lin Yi click his tongue in wonder. The burning feeling also became weaker and weaker until it finally disappeared without a trace. Lin Yi jumped out of the water comfortably. He only felt that his meridian seemed to be a lot thicker than before. In the same amount of time, he could use more physical qi. Phew! Lin Yi let out a long breath. This feeling was completely different from before. Lin Yi felt that his realm had been improved qualitatively. He was afraid that whether it was compressing the true qi bomb or recovering physical qi, it would be faster than before. Thinking of this, Lin Yi took out the silk scroll copy of the 3rd level of the Art of Dragon Mastery and carefully studied it in his heart. The 3rd level of the Art of Dragon Mastery, Butterfly Transformation. In fact, this 3rd level of the Art of Dragon Mastery, Lin Yi had silently studied it many times before he strengthened his meridian. He had already memorized it by heart. He took it out this time only because he was afraid that there would be a problem. Last time, he was already possessed by the devil. This time, Lin Yi followed the principle of being careful. After reciting the 3rd level of the Art of Dragon Mastery and confirming that there were no problems, he entered the space of the Jade Pendant and began to practice the 3rd level of the Art of Dragon Master. Little Yi, you're strengthening the meridian this time. Jiao Yazi was a little surprised that Lin Yi's meridian strengthening speed this time. It seemed like everything was going smoothly. I say, Jiao Lao, you're not hoping that I'll make a mistake again, are you? Lin Yi said impatiently. Haha, of course not. Jiao Yazi laughed dryly. You're trying to practice the 3rd level of the Art of Dragon Mastery? Yes. Lin Yi nodded. Since the meridian strengthening is done, let's start practicing. Time is running out and the enemy is getting stronger and stronger. Haha, it's good to have a sense of urgency. Jiao Yazi nodded. Right, Jiao Lao, what's behind the 4th stone door? Lin Yi asked curiously. I don't know. Elder Jiao shook his head firmly and added, even if I knew, I wouldn't tell you. If you're looking forward to it, you can recklessly speed up your training. Haste makes waste. It's not like you don't understand this logic. All right. Lin Yi was very helpless towards Jiao Yazi. Some things, he wasn't at that level yet, he wouldn't say no matter how he asked. In other words, Jiao Yazi's memory wasn't unlocked, so there was no point in asking. Chapter 3051. The moment Lin Yi's 3rd level of the Art of Dragon Mastery began to circulate, the energy in the space of the Jade Pendant seemed to be gathered by an invisible net, and then quickly rushed to Lin Yi's side. The speed at which it gathered was incomparably fast. However, Lin Yi did not have too many doubts about this situation. After all, when Lin Yi completed his body tempering and used the 2nd level of the Art of Dragon Mastery for the first time, there was a similar effect. Therefore, Lin Yi did not care about these strange phenomena, but continued to steadily circulate the 2nd level of the Art of Dragon Mastery. Next, Lin Yi felt as if all the acupoints in his body suddenly opened up, and the energy that was gathered in the space of the Jade Pendant also quickly rushed through Lin Yi's acupoints into Lin Yi's body. This situation was the same as always, but what surprised Lin Yi was that after the energy entered his acupoints this time, it did not directly enter his body like when he tempered his body, but was completely absorbed by his meridian. Was it continuing to strengthen his meridians before cultivating? After thinking of this possibility, Lin Yi felt that his guess was very reliable. This feeling was as if the energy in the space of the Jade Pendant was helping Lin Yi to nourish his meridians, making Lin Yi's meridians incomparably comfortable. As time passed, the 3rd level of the Art of Dragon Mastery circulated faster and faster, and became more and more skillful. Lin Yi only felt that the endless energy in the space of the Jade Pendant poured into his meridians faster and faster. With Lin Yi as the center, in the space of the Jade Pendant, more and more pure energy gathered here, waiting to enter Lin Yi's meridians, and Lin Yi could even feel the changes in his body. His meridians in his body became stronger and thicker. Lin Yi could even clearly feel that as his meridians became thicker, The speed at which he circulated the art of dragon mastery became faster and faster. When Lin Yi stopped, Lin Yi could already circulate the third stage of the art of dragon mastery. Lin Yi didn't continue training. After all, Wu Chentian and Hua Xiaoyun were still waiting for him outside. The two were probably very nervous, and Lin Yi had to give them some time to relax. Returning to reality from the space of the jade pendant, Lin Yi pushed open the door and walked out. "Boss, you finished strengthening the meridians?" Chentian asked quickly when he saw Lin Yi. "Yes, it's done." Lin Yi nodded. "That's right, boss. What is a meridian strengthening thing?" Hua Xiaoyun had wanted to ask before, but he had never heard of meridian strengthening. "To put it simply, I can heal you faster." Lin Yi did not know how to explain, so he simplified it. "I see. That's a good thing." Hua Xiaoyun heard it, and a look of realization appeared on his face. He nodded and said, "This is very useful in a battle of attrition." "Ha ha." Lin Yi smiled. Hua Xiaoyun only saw a part of the benefits, but he didn't know that Lin Yi's chi bomb compression speed had increased quite a bit as well. This was the ultimate weapon in a battle. Ancient House Feng. Not long after Feng Nitian consumed the Great Recover Pill, he finally woke up. His wounds were healed, but his arm couldn't be regrown. He couldn't use the heaven-defying arts anymore. His meridians were destroyed, and he had lost all his strength. He couldn't change to another art, and it wasn't going to work. Therefore, although Feng Ni was clear-headed, he was unhappy. Feng Tianhu looked at his son, and his heart was broken. He was furious. Why was Feng Shipian able to come back safely from the test, even getting a great recovery elixir, while his own son was crippled by someone else? Wasn't it just a bullshit, boss? He was just a lucky bastard. "Nitian, how do you feel?" Feng Tianhu asked in pain. "Dad. I'm done, I'm useless." Feng Nitian had already checked his body, and he realized that he was no different from a normal person. In fact, he was worse than a normal person because he had no arms. "It's good that your injuries are healed. At least you're alive, it's better than being unconscious," Feng Tianhu consoled. "But, I'd rather die than live like this." Nitian couldn't help but raise his head in pain and scream, "Dad, you have to avenge me." "Nitian, don't worry, I'll avenge you." Feng Tianhu nodded and said, "Whoever did this to you, I'll pay back double. Tell me, what's his name? Which sect is he from?" "Dad, that person is called Ling Yi. I don't know which sect he's from, but he seems to be a solo practitioner, but he and Zhong Naipao used to be enemies. Just ask Zhong Naipao from the Everyday and Everyday sect, and you'll know who he is," Feng Nitian said. "Ling Yi? That name sounds familiar. Where have I heard it before?" Feng Tianhu paused, but he remembered, right, Feng Shusho had a boss in the Sky Elixir sect's test, Lin Yi. Under Lin Yi's protection, he got lucky and passed the test. "What? Feng Shusho went to the test too?" Feng Nitian paused and asked, "What happened? How long was I out? Why is there a test from the Sky Elixir sect?" "Nitian, you've been out for half a year," Feng Tianhu sighed and said sympathetically. "As for Feng Shusho going to the Sky Elixir sect's test, it was actually a ploy. I wanted him to die there, but I didn't expect him to come back successfully." "A ploy?" Feng Nitian paused and asked. "Yes, I was planning to ask him to get you a great recovery pill to heal your wounds. It was an impossible mission, but Feng Shipian got lucky in the Sky Elixir sect's test. He got himself a boss and passed the test smoothly, even getting you a pill." Feng Tianhu told Nitian everything that had happened. "This guy sure is lucky." Feng Nitian didn't feel grateful at all. Instead, he said angrily. The ancient Feng house no longer had any kinship, there was only fighting. "Yeah, I'll ask you right now, just who is this Ling Yi?" Feng Tianhu and the Everyday and Everyday sect were connected, and in fact, these ancient sects all had some sort of connection with each other. Chapter 3052. Heavenly Venerable Pure Star was the junior brother of Heavenly Venerable Pure Yang and Heavenly Venerable Pure Yin. He had the strength of a late-stage heaven rank. When Feng Tianhu was young, he had participated in the Ice Palace trial with him, and they had some contact later on. "Pure Star, I'm Feng Tianhu from House Feng." Pure Star used to be Tianhu's friend, But he was a sky-class late phase now, much stronger than Tianhu. Naturally, he had to be polite to him. Empyrean was the title that the Everyday and Everyday sect gave to the current generation of disciples. In the past, Feng Tianhu had called Empyrean Pure Star, but now, he had to call him Empyrean to show his respect. "Oh, Tianhu, what's the matter?" Pure Star asked. "It's like this, I heard that Zhong Naipao has an enemy called Ling Yi. Do you know him?" Tianhu asked. "Ling Yi?" Pure Star paused and remembered who Ling Yi was. "Oh, the Ling Yi you're talking about is Lin Yi. Ling Yi is his alias." "What's the matter?" "Ling Yi is Lin Yi." Feng Tianhu was shocked after hearing Chuanqing's words. "Are you sure?" "Yeah, that's right. We all know about this." "What, do you know Lin Yi?" Pure Star asked. "Heh. Ling Yi is Lin Yi." Tianhu gritted his teeth. But, he still said, "It's nothing, I just wanted to ask around." "Thanks." "Oh, okay, if there's nothing else, I'm hanging up." Pure Star didn't have time to waste with Tianhu. He was half a step away from Sky-class late phase peak, and once that happened, he'd have the chance to step into Sky-class perfection. He'd be able to get a share of the pie in the Sky-class island plan. After Feng Tianhu hung up the phone, his face darkened. Feng Nitian heard what Feng Tianhu said as well, so he quickly asked, "Dad, you said that Ling Yi is Lin Yi? Feng Shipian's boss?" "That's right, it's him." Feng Tianhu nodded. "Heavenly Venerable Pure Star wouldn't lie to me. It seems like it's definitely him. Damn it. Why did that Lin Yi help Feng Shipian and become his boss, then attack me in the Ice Palace's trial? Did he come to an agreement with Feng Shipian?" Feng Nitian was furious. He always had the heart of a petty man jealous of the heart of a gentleman. "Who knows, but I won't let this matter go so easily. I'm going to bring it up during the family meeting and let everyone know about it." Feng Tianhu said, "Although Feng Shipian has been stripped of his position as the heir of the young master, there's no guarantee. You're useless now. What if your grandfather decides to restore his position as the heir of the young master one day? That would be troublesome." "That's right. I can't let Feng Shisho get what I can't." Nitian nodded and said hatefully, "Dad, you have to help me deal with Lin Yi and Feng Shipian. I hate them." "Nitian, don't worry, I'll take revenge for you." Feng Tianhu nodded. Today, two big things happened in House Feng. One was that Feng Nitian had awakened. This was supposed to be a joyous event for the ancient House Feng, but when they found out that Feng Shipian's boss, Lin Yi, was the one who crippled Nitian, the Fengs felt a little heavy in their hearts. "Dad, Shipian actually took Lin Yi as his boss. Isn't that the same as taking a thief as his father? He's the one who crippled Nitian, the enemy of our ancient House Feng." Feng Tianhu was the first to speak up. Feng Tianlin frowned. He didn't expect things to turn out this way. Things in House Feng were getting out of his control. First, Feng Shipian was stripped of his position as heir of the young master, and now, Feng Tianhu was doing something that was even more disadvantageous to Feng Shipian. He was caught off guard. Originally, Feng Tianlin was prepared to talk to old Master Feng about restoring Feng Shipian's position as the successor of the young master. After all, Feng Shipian was the third-generation direct descendant of the ancient Feng family. If he wasn't allowed to be the successor of the young master, would the Feng family's lineage end? But now, Feng Tianhu made such a scandal, and Feng Tianlin couldn't do anything about it at all. It cut off Feng Tianlin's path of retreat. Feng Tianlin looked at his son, Feng Shipian. He was very angry. Of all the people he could have chosen to be his boss, why did he choose the enemy of the Feng family? Wasn't he just looking for trouble? "Third uncle, what you said is a bit too much. How can I take a thief as my father?" No matter how nice Feng Shipian was, he had to refute Feng Tianhu's harsh words, not to mention that he had implicated Lin Yi. "First of all, if it wasn't for Lin Yi, I would have died in the Heavenly Elixir Sect's trial. He helped Nitian get a great recover pill to heal his injuries, and that's compensation for Nitian." "Compensation? Nitian is now a cripple, how can you compensate him? A great recover pill is enough to compensate him? Are you kidding me, Feng Shipian? Are you out of your mind? How can this be the same?" Feng Tianhu said angrily. "Tianhu, Shipian isn't wrong. He previously crippled a disciple of our House Feng, and in the trial, he saved another disciple of our house Feng. We're even now. Feng Tianlin finally thought of a solution. Nitian and Shipian are both disciples of our ancient house Feng, and we're a whole. If you want to cause trouble for Lin Yi because of Nitian, isn't that repaying kindness with enmity? How will others look at our ancient Feng family? Feng Tianhu was speechless. He didn't think that Feng Tianlin would stand on the side of House Feng, and now that it was true, he couldn't refute it. All right, stop arguing. This is a life for a life. Besides, Lin Yi helped Shipian get a great recover pill for Nitian, so let's forget about this for now. Old Master Feng waved his hand to stop the quarrel. He knew that Nitian wasn't going to make it, and he only had one grandson left, Feng Shipian. If he were to be killed, what would happen to House Feng? Yes. Feng Tianhu and Feng Tianlin nodded. Since Old Master Feng had spoken, the matter was settled. Feng Tianhu had a lot of dissatisfaction in his heart, but he had no choice but to return to Nitian's room. Chapter 3053. Dad, how is it? Did you kick Feng Shipian out of House Feng and fire at Lin Yi? Nitian asked expectantly when he saw Tianhu. Nitian, things aren't as simple as you think. Your grandpa said that a life for a life. With that, Feng Tianhu repeated Grandpa Feng's words to Nitian. Your grandpa isn't muddled. He knows that Feng Shipian is the only third-generation descendant of House Feng. If Feng Shipian is completely suppressed, what will happen to House Feng in the future? So, it's very difficult to use Grandpa Feng's hands to deal with Feng Shipian. Besides, Lin Yi is helping us, the ancient House Feng, and if your grandpa doesn't agree, then I can't mobilize a large number of masters to deal with Lin Yi. Feng Shipian, I'm so pissed. Nitian gritted his teeth, but after a while, his eyes lit up. Dad, tell me the truth other than me. Do you have another son? You know all about it. Tianhu was taken aback as he looked at Nitian in shock. I knew about it a long time ago, but I didn't think too much of it after all. You wanted to raise me to be a part of House Feng, and that son, I guess, wants to help me in the future. That's right. Ran is a martial arts fanatic, and he doesn't really care about the power of the house. Of course, it's possible that he hasn't reached that level yet, and in his heart, he's just an orphan that I took in. He wouldn't want to fight for anything. Feng Tianhu nodded. If you get the position, I'll never tell him the truth, and I'll only let him be an elder of House Feng to help you. Dad, there's no need to explain all that I understand. I'm crippled now, and I can't fight for the position of heir anymore. Can't we let your son take the position? I don't want to see Feng Shipian doing well. Nitian said. Unless there's something that can stop Feng Shipian from making a comeback, none of this is a big deal. Feng Tianhu sighed. It's hard. Although Lin Yi is the one who hurt you, Lin Yi is Lin Yi, and Lin Yi is Feng Shiliang. Although Lin Yi is Feng Shiliang's boss, there are two of them. There's no way to push the blame onto Feng Shiliang. Feng Nitian's face darkened after hearing Feng Tianhu's words. It was true that dragging Feng Shipian down with just this was a difficult task, but Feng Nitian wasn't willing to let it go just like that. He wanted to compete for the position of young family leader and suppress Feng Shipian, which was why he had participated in the Ice Palace trials. He had seen Feng Shipian as his mortal enemy since he was young, but he did not have any feelings for his half-brother, who he had never met before. So, he would rather let him take the position than let Feng Shipian do well. Besides, the most important thing was that Feng Shiliang was with Lin Yi. Feng Nitian didn't believe that Feng Shiliang didn't know that Lin Yi was the one who hurt him, but Feng Shiliang didn't report it, and even when the truth was exposed, he still protected Lin Yi. This made Feng Nitian furious. Dad, no matter what price I have to pay, I don't want Feng Shiliang to have a good life. I'd rather die than live in Dishina. Nitian, I know how you feel, but this isn't a matter of life and death. Even if we try our best to drag him down, we don't have any bargaining chip. Feng Tianhu, of course, wanted Feng Shiliang dead. As long as Feng Shiliang was dead, Feng Tianlin wouldn't have the heart to continue sitting on the position of heir. At that time, wouldn't it be a piece of cake for Feng Tianhu to get the position? But, it was a good idea, but it couldn't be realized. Old Feng was very smart, and normal things wouldn't be able to send Feng Shiliang to the 18th level of hell. Dad, I have an idea. Suddenly, a vicious light flashed across Feng Nitian's eyes. What idea? Feng Tianhu paused. If I die, Feng Shiliang will never be able to rise again. Nitian gritted his teeth. I don't want to live anyways, but Dad, you have to be ruthless. Poison me and blame it on Feng Shipian, and even if Grandpa suspects you, the crime of murdering his own brother will be enough to make him lose the heir position. Nitian gritted his teeth. I don't want to live anymore. Nitian. You. Feng Tianhu's eyes widened. He didn't expect Feng Nitian to be this crazy, using this method to frame Feng Shiliang. This was too ruthless, using his own life to harm others. Dad, you don't have to say anything, I've made up my mind. Feng Nitian waved his hand. I'm already a cripple, anyway. If I die a worthy death, I'll be able to ruin Feng Shiliang's life. Nitian, you have to understand that even if you die, you can't blame it on Feng Shiliang. Even if you're poisoned, it might not be because of the Great Recovery Pill. How can you blame it on him? You'll lose your life for nothing, it's not worth it, we have to think about this. Feng Tianhu's mouth twitched. Feng Nitian had gone crazy, he had reached a level where he would do anything for revenge. It was scary. Hehe, Dad, think about it, if Feng Shiliang comes to see me and I take the poison, and I scream, Feng Shiliang, why did you poison me? Did Lin Yi send you? What would happen? Feng Nitian smiled darkly. At that time, even if Grandpa doesn't believe it, he'll be suspicious. I'm afraid that Feng Shiliang won't have the heir position anymore. Then, you can push out my brother that I've never met before, and Grandpa would be more than happy to let him be the heir, right? But that way, Nitian, you'll be sacrificing too much. All the benefits will go to Ran-Er and I. Your death is not worth it at all. Feng Nitian was moved. He had to admit that this father and son duo were both ruthless. How is it not worth it? As long as Feng Shiliang dies, I'll be satisfied. Feng Nitian said. Dad, after I die, you have to help me get revenge on Lin Yi, kill him, and let me die a worthy death. All right, I promise you. Feng Tianhu gritted his teeth and nodded. Don't worry, I'll help you ruin Feng Shiliang's reputation and kill Lin Yi. Chapter 3054. There was no meaning in living anymore, and it would only lead to a twisted mentality. It was dinner time, and logically speaking, Feng Nitian should be at the table after he woke up. After all, this dinner was specially prepared to celebrate Feng Nitian's recovery, but when the dishes were laid out and everyone was about to sit down, Feng Nitian didn't show up. Feng Tianhu walked over with a worried face. Father, Nitian isn't in a good mood. His arms are broken, and he can't practice heaven-defying arts anymore. He feels guilty and doesn't dare to come for dinner. Oh! Elder Feng paused. What's there to feel guilty about? Tianhu, try to persuade him again. Even without arms, he can still cultivate external mental cultivation methods. We, the ancient Feng family, can still find some external mental cultivation methods. When the time comes, he will still be able to achieve something. These words were actually a little hollow and pale. Without an arm, if he continued to cultivate external techniques, how far could he reach? Plus, Feng Nitian was past the best age to practice physical arts. Even if he practiced, he wouldn't be able to do much. He could strengthen his body, but it would be hard for him to step into the golden class. Someone like Forbert, who had both arms, was only a golden class master after so many years of practice. One could only imagine how hard it was to turn from the inside to the outside. So Feng Tianhu smiled bitterly. Father, I tried to convince him, but he's afraid that Shishui will laugh at him, so why would I laugh at him? Shishui paused. How about this, Shishui, you go talk to Nitian, Elder Feng said after some thought. All right. Shishui didn't suspect anything. He walked out of the dining room and went to Nitian's room. He knocked on the door. Nitian, it's me. Oh, cousin, come in. The door isn't locked, Nitian said. Feng Shipian pushed the door open and entered Nitian's room. He was just about to say a few words to Nitian when he realized that Nitian's face was a little red. Heaven-defying, your complexion. Feng Shipian was startled and hurriedly asked. Cousin. I'm fine. I just woke up, so I'm a little hot. Nitian consumed the poison and calculated the time of his death. At this moment, he had Feng Tianhu's internal strength suppressing it, so the poison would take a longer time to act up. Oh, I see. Shipian nodded. If Nitian had just woken up, then his face would be red. Normally, people who had just woken up would have a red face. Cousin, tell me the truth. I was able to practice the heaven-defying arts, and I was the most famous person in the younger generation of House Feng. Have you ever been jealous of me? Have you ever wanted to kill me? Nitian asked. How is this possible? The more powerful you are, the happier I will be. The prosperity of our clan doesn't belong to one person, but to everyone. Only when everyone has strength can our ancient Feng clan be called the ancient Feng clan. Otherwise, we'll just be rogue cultivators. Feng Shipian shook his head and said resolutely. Really? How selfless of you. Nitian seemed to have expected Feng Shipian to say this, but, I think you're waiting for something to happen to me, and when that happens, you'll be able to take over, right? Nitian, how could you think like that? If I really wanted something to happen to you, why would I take the risk to help you get the great recovery pill? Shipian shook his head. That's hard to say. Nitian's face was red as he coughed. Feng Shipian, my cousin, you know that Lin Yi is the one who injured me, and you still call him boss. What are you planning? Nitian's face was red as he coughed. Feng Shipian, my cousin, you know that Lin Yi is the one who injured me, and you still call him boss. What are you planning? Do you dare say that you didn't know about this? Feng Shipian was silent. Nitian was right, he knew that it was Lin Yi who injured Nitian, but Feng Shipian knew Nitian's personality very well. If he didn't act tough first, he wouldn't be injured. But, as a member of the Feng clan, how could he say this? Forget it, let's not talk about this. Brother, can you get me a glass of water? I'm thirsty. Nitian pointed at the glass on the table. Okay. Feng Shipian nodded and took the glass on the table. I don't have hands, I'll have to rely on you to feed me. Nitian said. That's not a problem. Shipian carefully put the glass next to Nitian's mouth and let him drink. But after drinking the water, Feng Nitian waved his hand, signaling that he had drunk enough. Shipian put the cup back, but before he could turn around, he saw Feng Nitian spit out a mouthful of blood, staining the sheets and quilt red. The blood was all over the floor. There's poison in the water. Cousin, why did you do this to me? Nitian shouted. I know, it must be Lin Yi. Lin Yi asked you to kill him, right? Nitian, what are you talking about? What's wrong with you? Shipian was shocked. Feng Shipian. You killed me. I'm not done with you. Nitian shouted before his eyes rolled back and he breathed his last. Nitian's voice was very loud, and not far away, in the dining room of House Feng, everyone heard it clearly. Feng Tianhu's face changed, Feng Tianlin's face changed as well, and even Elder Feng's face changed. The three of them rushed into Nitian's room, and Shipian, on the other hand, was staring at the dead Nitian on the bed. How did Nitian die just like that? How did he die after drinking a mouthful of water? Nitian, what's wrong? Feng Tianhu was the first to rush into the room and saw Nitian on the bed with blood all over his mouth. He quickly hugged him and said angrily, Nitian, what's wrong with you? Why are you vomiting blood? Shipian, what's going on? Feng Tianlin ran into the room and asked Shipian. Father, I don't know what's going on. Nitian said he wanted to drink water, so I fed him a cup, and after he drank it, he vomited blood. Shipian didn't know what to do. Things were out of his expectations, and he didn't know what to do. Tianhu, my condolences, Nitian is gone. Elder Feng walked over and checked on Nitian's condition. Nitian was dead, and he knew that there was nothing he could do, so he sighed and said to Feng Tianhu. Chapter 3055. He sounded like he was about to cry. Against the Heavens was fine just now. Why did he leave in such a short time? How is this possible? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Feng Shipian was a bit awkward. Nitian died in front of him, and although he wasn't responsible for it, he didn't know what to say. He could only speak carefully. Yeah, third uncle, we should figure out what happened to Nitian. Shipian, tell us, did you kill Nitian? Feng Tianhu glared at Feng Shipian and yelled, we heard everything that Nitian shouted just now. Don't deny it. Tell us, did you kill Nitian? Feng Shipian snorted. Feng Tianhu's question made Elder Feng and Feng Tianlin turn to look at Feng Shipian. Elder Feng was confused as well. He heard what Nitian said, so he wanted to see what Feng Shipian had to say. Feng Tianlin, on the other hand, believed that Feng Shipian couldn't have killed Nitian, but the problem was that others didn't believe him. Third uncle, don't be agitated, how could I kill Nitian? Feng Shipian smiled bitterly. Nitian wanted to drink water, so I gave it to him. Who knew? You mean, Nitian died on his own? It has nothing to do with you. Feng Tianhu snapped. This. Third uncle, what I mean is, I don't know how Nitian died, but it has nothing to do with me. Feng Shipian said with certainty. Nothing to do with you? I'll believe you just because you said it. I only believe my son. He said that the water was poisoned, and it was you who killed him. Feng Tianhu smiled coldly and looked at Elder Feng. Father, Feng Shipian murdered his own brother, what's the punishment? Tianlin, what do you think? Grandfather Feng also had a headache. He wasn't a detective, and he couldn't tell who was right or wrong in this matter. He couldn't find someone to solve the case, so he could only rely on his own opinion and ask others. Tianhu, you said it yourself, the water is poisoned. Does it mean that Shipian poisoned the water? Can't the water be poisoned from the start? Feng Tianlin looked at Feng Tianhu and asked. Poisoned from the start? How was this possible? Are you saying that I poisoned the water to kill Defying Tian? Feng Tianhu asked ferociously. That's hard to say. Feng Tianlin shook his head. I didn't say it. You said it yourself. Even a vicious tiger will not eat its cubs. How could I harm my son? I'm a moron. Feng Tianhu said angrily. Feng Tianlin, are you saying that you can also poison Feng Shipian, and father can also poison the two of us? Elder Feng frowned slightly. He knew Feng Tianhu's personality. It wasn't impossible for Feng Tianhu to push the blame onto Feng Shipian to suppress Feng Tianlin and Feng Shipian. After all, Feng Tianhu had been doing these things secretly all these years. Although Grandpa Feng didn't say anything and turned a blind eye, he knew that Feng Tianhu could do anything. He colluded with Feng Tianlin's wife, persecuted Feng Tianlin's first girlfriend, and repeatedly laid his hands on Feng Tianlin's illegitimate daughter. Grandpa Feng knew all of this, but he couldn't do anything about it. A house needed competition to develop. Without competition, there would be no sense of danger. Besides, Feng Tianlin's wife had a powerful background as well. She was the young miss of the ancient Dongfang house. The ancient Dongfang house was much stronger than the ancient Feng house, so the young miss of the Dongfang house had always been a powerful presence in the house. Even Grandpa Feng had to give her some face. But at this moment, everyone had their reasons. Feng Shipian was suspected to be the murderer, but in Grandpa Feng's eyes, Feng Nitian was a suspect as well. This cup of water was placed here. Feng Shipian came later. Tianhu, it's reasonable for me to suspect you. If you had placed a cup of poisonous water here, you could have framed Feng Shipian. Feng Tianlin said. How is that possible? How could I know that Defying Tian must drink water, and it must be when Feng Shipian went to see him? How could it be so coincidental? You're bullshitting. Feng Tianhu said. Do you think this is logical? How is it not logical? But, before Feng Tianlin could finish, Grandpa Feng's voice rang out. The water. There's no poison. Grandpa Feng picked up the cup and sniffed it for a long time. He came to a conclusion, but his face was a little ugly. Only the mouth of the cup, there's some poison. And only a small part of the side, this. Feng Shipian's face changed. This meant that the evidence was against him. There was no poison in the cup, which meant that the poison must have been smeared on the mouth of the cup, but only a small part of it. What did this mean? This meant that the person who poisoned him knew that Nitian wanted to drink water, and he even knew which side of the cup he wanted to drink from. Other than Feng Shipian, who could smear the poison on the side of Nitian's cup when he picked it up? Who else could do this? Of course, what Feng Shipian didn't know was that Feng Nitian smeared the poison on his lips. When he drank the water, he rubbed his lips twice when Feng Shipian wasn't paying attention. Feng Shipian, Feng Tianlin, what else do you want to say? Who poisoned him this time? Feng Tianhu roared. Grandpa, I didn't poison him. Feng Shuiyan knew that the evidence was against him, but he still defended himself. He didn't want to be killed for no reason. If it wasn't you, then who could it be? Grandpa Feng only believed in his own observation. As far as he was concerned, Feng Tianhu couldn't have poisoned Nitian, unless he knew the art of divination. Otherwise, how could he know that Nitian wanted to drink water, and how could Feng Shuiyan pick up the cup and give the poisoned side to Nitian? This wasn't realistic at all. If it wasn't Feng Tianhu, then who could it be? It couldn't be that Nitian killed himself, could it? Who would kill themselves for no reason? This was the most likely possibility, but it was eliminated as the most impossible as far as everyone was concerned. There was no reason for Nitian to kill himself. Since he was embarrassed to see Feng Shuiyan, it meant that he still had a sense of shame. How could he kill himself just like that? Moreover, he committed suicide. Who gave him the poison? He didn't even have an arm. How could he take poison? Chapter 3056. Feng Tianlin was frowning as well. He didn't believe that Feng Shuiyan was the killer, but he couldn't find a reason to object. Shuiyan, tell Grandpa the truth. Did you do it? If you admit it now, I'll let you off lightly, otherwise. Elder Feng seemed to have aged a few years in an instant. Although the fight for power in the family was heating up, Feng Tianhu couldn't kill Feng Shuiyan and Feng Tianlin in public. As for the illegitimate daughter and lover, they weren't considered part of the Feng family since they didn't return to the family. It was an unspoken rule to kill them. No. Feng Shuiyan knew that this answer would disappoint his grandpa. Who would believe him in a situation like this? But Feng Shuiyan still shook his head, denying it without hesitation. No. The rim of the cup is just right for you to have poisoned it. Only you could have done this. Old Master Feng sighed and said, good, very good. Tian Lin, lock the poem in the west wing. I'll think about it before making a decision. Yes. Feng Tianlin had no choice but to nod. Father, Nitian died so tragically, you have to help him. He just woke up, and he still wanted to fight for the position of the young head, but he died just like that. What a shame. Feng Tianhu added oil to the fire, pointing out that Nitian still wanted to fight for the position of heir. This was the reason why Feng Shuiyan poisoned him. I said, lock Shuiyan up first, I'll think about it and make a decision. Elder Feng waved his hand. He couldn't kill Feng Shuiyan to avenge Nitian. After all, House Feng only had one grandson left, and if he died, there would be no heir for the ancient house. Yes. Feng Tianhu nodded his head in sorrow. He picked up Nitian's body and cried, Nitian, look, open your eyes and see, Grandpa is here for you, he won't let the murderer go. Feng Tianlin didn't believe that his son was the killer, but things were too complicated. If Feng Tianhu wasn't the killer, then who was? Who would frame Sam? Old Master Feng shook his head, waved his hand, and said, disperse, the banquet is cancelled. It was supposed to be a celebratory banquet, but with Nitian's death, it was cancelled. The entire ancient house Feng fell into sorrow. Feng Tianlin sent Feng Shuliang to the west room. Although Feng Shuliang was under house arrest and wasn't allowed to go out, Feng Tianlin was still allowed to visit. Therefore, after Feng Tianlin sent Feng Shuliang in, he directly sat opposite Feng Shuliang. Shuping, tell me, are you the one who killed Nitian? Feng Tianlin was also curious, so he lowered his voice and asked, tell me the truth. I will never harm you. Dad. Don't you know my personality? If I had harmed him back then, why would I have gone to ask for the great recover pill for him? Shuiyan smiled bitterly, but the whole family doesn't believe me now, they all think that I killed Nitian. But why did I kill him? I risked my life to ask for the pill to save him, and then I killed him. Didn't I have nothing better to do? Plus, he's a cripple now, there's no conflict of interest between us. If I killed him, wouldn't I be looking for trouble for myself? That's true, I think so too, but your grandpa already suspects you. Feng Tianlin sighed, this doesn't seem to be done by Tianhu, so who did it? Dad, I do have a suspect. Feng Shuliang calmed down and thought about it carefully, thinking of some clues. Oh, who? Feng Tianlin was overjoyed and quickly asked. As long as they could find the suspect, Feng Shuliang's crime would be cleared, and Feng Shuliang might even get back his position as the heir of the house. It's Nitian himself. Feng Shiliang said word by word. What? Nitian himself? Feng Tianlin was taken aback. How could it be him? When I came in, his face didn't look normal, and he said a bunch of weird things to me. With that, Feng Shiliang repeated what Nitian said to him. If that's the case, it's possible that Feng Nitian took the poison himself and framed you. Feng Tianlin was enlightened, but where did Feng Nitian get the poison from? And he doesn't have hands, how did he take it? I'm afraid it's third uncle's cooperation. Feng Shiliang thought about it and analyzed. Nitian probably had the poison in his mouth, and that's why his face looked weird, but he didn't take it, so the poison didn't act up. Maybe third uncle used his pure qi to suppress it, so he was able to hold on for a while, and then he drank water and swallowed most of the poison in his mouth, and that's why he died. The poison on this cup was smeared on Nitian's lips. Although we've analyzed it, what's the point? Feng Tianlin couldn't help but sigh. Your grandpa won't believe you. Nitian's dead, and there's no proof. If you keep talking about this, he'll think that you're making it up to get out of this. Dad, it's fine, I'll stay here, I'll just treat it as training. Feng Shiliang was quite open-minded, and he could only take it one step at a time. Ian, don't worry, Shiliang, I'll do my best to get you out of this, Feng Tianlin said. At the same time, in Feng Tianlin's place, Feng Tianhu appeared. Just when everyone thought that Feng Tianhu was going to carry Nitian's body back and cry his heart out, Feng Tianhu appeared here. Sister-in-law. Feng Tianhu's face, other than the pain from before, was now extremely dark. He walked in front of a noble lady and called out, Tianhu, why are you here? The noble lady was startled. She was Feng Shiliang's mother, Dongfang Xiaotsui. Just now, the news of Feng Shiliang killing Nitian had reached Dongfang Xiaotsui through her servants, so she was surprised to see Feng Tianhu here. Are you here to punish me? Chapter 3057. What, Tianhu, what do you want to say? Dongfang Xiaotsui asked. I know, my life is over. I don't have anything left to think about. I want to take revenge on Shishan, but I don't dare. Even if I dare to offend Big Brother, I don't dare to offend you. Feng Tianhu said, right now, I just want to avenge Nitian and let him rest in peace. I also know that Shishan is the only bloodline left in the Feng family. No matter what, father won't do anything to him. So, Nitian died for nothing. I said, Tianhu, what do you want to say? Dongfang Xiaotsui wasn't happy with her husband protecting Shu Shahan, but Shishan was her son. Of course, she wasn't happy that Feng Tianhu was talking about her son. Even if they used to work together, she wouldn't be nice to Feng Tianhu. Are you complaining to me? So what if Shishan killed him? He's the grandson of the Dongfang family. How can you punish him just because you say so? To be honest, the Feng family doesn't have that ability. Of course. Sister-in-law, I didn't say I want to deal with Shishan. Feng Tianhu said bitterly. Sister-in-law, let me finish. I mean, I can't do anything to Shishan, but I want to deal with my second brother. You want to deal with Tianlin? Do you think that's possible? Dongfang Xiaotsui naturally liked Feng Tianlin. If it wasn't for that, why would she be so jealous and want to kill Shu Shahan and her mother? No, what I mean is, I want to deal with Shu Shahan. As long as Shu Shahan dies, my second brother will definitely be sad. Then, I'll achieve my goal. Feng Tianhu said, I just want him to be sad. I lost a child, so he has to die too. Otherwise, the hatred in my heart won't be appeased. Bro. You mean, you want to deal with Shu Shahan? Dongfang Xiaotsui paused. She wasn't as conflicted as before. She nodded, then what do you plan to do? Feng Tianhu's suggestion moved Dongfang Xiaotsui. After all, Shu Shahan was someone she had always wanted to kill. Feng Tianlin secretly cared about Shu Shahan, and it made Dongfang Xiaotsui very angry. How could she let go of such an opportunity? Besides, Nitian was most likely killed by his own son, Feng Shipian. If Feng Tianhu refused to let it go, even the Dongfang family wouldn't be able to interfere with the Feng family's matters. After all, this was their private matter. Dongfang Xiaotsui was just trying to scare Feng Tianhu. Now, Feng Tianhu said that killing Shu Shahan would appease his anger, a life for a life. This couldn't be any better. Thinking of this, Dongfang Xiaotsue nodded. To be honest, she was also afraid that Feng Tianhu would pester Feng Shipian about the murder. The barefooted were not afraid of those who wore shoes. If Feng Tianhu went crazy and wanted to blow things up, then Feng Shipian would probably lose a layer of skin even if he didn't die. This was not what Dongfang Xiaotsue wanted to see. Before, she was a little wary of working with Feng Tianhu. Although Dongfang Xiaotsue was jealous, she still knew how to protect her son. How could Dongfang Xiaotsue not know that Nitian wanted to fight for the young head position? So when working with Feng Tianhu, she always held back. But it was different now. Feng Nitian was dead, and Feng Shipian was the only third-generation descendant of House Feng. In the future, Elder Feng would definitely choose him as the young head. This was why Dongfang Xiaotsue was willing to work with Feng Tianhu calmly. Second sister-in-law, you know that Nitian has just died. Second brother will definitely be on guard against me. Once I mobilize the Feng family's men, he will definitely find out. At that time, I'm afraid that it will be self-defeating. Big brother will find out about our plan before we even take action. So, I'm thinking if we can let the Dongfang family take action this time. Feng Tianhu's plan was to let Dongfang family deal with Xu Shihan, and when Xu Shihan died, Feng Tianlin would know that his wife killed his daughter. Then, there would definitely be a gap between him and Dongfang Xiaotsue, and it would disturb his mental state. That would be the first blow. The second blow was that after killing Xu Shihan, Feng Tianhu wouldn't give up. After so many years of careful investigation, he had found out about Feng Tianlin's first love. The second step was to let Dongfang Xiaotsue's people take action and kill Feng Tianlin's first love. If he killed Feng Tianlin's first love first, then after Feng Tianlin and Dongfang Xiaotsue's relationship turned sour, Dongfang Xiaotsue might let Xu Shihan go. After all, that bitch was already dead, leaving only a child. She couldn't compete with Dongfang Xiaotsue for anything. Plus, she was a girl, and wouldn't threaten Feng Shipian's position in the family. Dongfang Xiaotsue might let it go in order to not make Feng Tianlin angry. However, Feng Tianlin's first love was different. Even if Feng Tianlin and Dongfang Xiaotsue had a bad relationship because of Xu Shihan, Dongfang Xiaotsue would still kill Xu Shihan's mother. Feng Tianhu had already grasped Dongfang Xiaotsue's jealousy very well. This woman would never allow Xu Shihan's mother to live. Since they've already fallen out with Feng Tianlin, if Xu Shihan's mother didn't die and let Feng Tianlin and her get back together, then what would Dongfang Xiaotsue do? However, when Dongfang Xiaotsue made her move the second time, Feng Tianhu would intentionally or unintentionally leak the news to Feng Tianlin. Although Feng Tianlin knew about it, he couldn't stop it. The only thing he could do was to send someone to stop it. Who should he send? In the ancient Feng family, Feng Tianlin was the same as Feng Tianhu. There was a limit to the number of masters he could use. The stronger masters were all controlled by Old Man Feng. Feng Tianlin couldn't personally protect Xu Shihan's mother, so he could only send Feng Shipian. This way, he could pretend to cooperate with Dongfang Xiaotsue and send people or hire assassins from Yellow Spring sect to kill Feng Shipian. This was the third attack. Xu Shihan's mother, and Feng Shipian were all dead. Feng Tianhu didn't believe that no matter how strong Feng Tianlin was, he would still have the heart to care about some family matters. As long as he was dispirited, then Feng Tianhu could take advantage of the situation and find a suitable opportunity to push his son, Feng Yiran, in front of Old Master Feng, and let Feng Yiran succeed. After Feng Yiran ascended and became the successor of the young patriarch, wouldn't the position of the young patriarch belong to him, Feng Tianhu? Chapter 3058. This plan was closely linked to each other. It could not be said that it was not sinister. However, with Dongfang Xiaotsue's intelligence, she would never have thought of so much. She would never have thought that her crazy jealousy would cause her to cooperate with Feng Tianhu and personally prepare to push her son and husband into the abyss. From Dongfang Xiaotsue's perspective, no one would be able to threaten her position if they were all dead. Dongfang family? That's not impossible. Dongfang Xiaotsue thought about it. But if you let Dongfang family do it, you have to keep it a secret. I don't want Tianlin to know that it was me. Of course, sister-in-law, we've worked together so many times. You still don't trust me? Don't worry, as long as Shu Shahan is dead, then the scar in my heart will be healed. I won't have anything to worry about anymore. I won't stop Shimai from taking over. Ian, you said it. I'll remember it. If you go back on your words, our Dongfang family won't let you go, Dongfang Xiaotsue threatened. Of course, of course. Feng Tianhu laughed coldly inside. Dongfang family? No matter how strong you were, you wouldn't start a war with the ancient Feng family for Dongfang Xiaotsue's daughter. After all, every ancient family or sect had their own rules. If an outsider interfered, didn't that mean that anyone could interfere? These rules were all hidden, and no one would break them. All right, I got it. I'll arrange for a few Earth-class late-phase peak masters to go. Dongfang Xiaotsue said. That's good. Sister-in-law, I'll be leaving now. Feng Tianhu didn't dare linger. If Feng Tianlin came back and saw him plotting with Dongfang Xiaotsue, then his plan wouldn't be able to continue. Feng Tianlin came back not long after Feng Tianhu left. Dongfang Xiaotsue put down her phone and pretended to be very concerned. Tianlin, I heard that something happened to Shimai. What happened? Is she all right? Don't worry, I'll take care of it. Feng Tianlin clearly didn't want to say too much. He still didn't trust Dongfang Xiaotsue. This woman had brought people to beat up Shu Shahan's mother. How could Feng Tianlin trust her? It was just that Dongfang Xiaotsue's identity made him helpless, and Dongfang Xiaotsue truly loved him. Other than Shu Shahan's matter, she performed well in everything else, so Feng Tianlin had been with her until now. It's great that you're fine. Dongfang Xiaotsue heaved a sigh of relief, and then she said, Tianlin, we haven't been intimate in a long time. I'm going to take a bath. Then, Dongfang Xiaotsue winked at Feng Tianlin and walked towards the bathroom. Dongfang Xiaotsue was trying her best to please Feng Tianlin. If Shu Shahan died and Feng Tianlin found out, what would Dongfang Xiaotsue do? So she wanted to please Feng Tianlin in advance. Even if Feng Tianlin found out, he wouldn't be able to do anything about it. She was prepared to crazily please Feng Tianlin these few days. One had to say that Dongfang Xiaotsue took good care of herself. She was the young miss of the ancient Dongfang family. The Dongfang family was also one of the strongest families in the ancient era. They also had a few face-preserving pills. Although Dongfang Xiaotsue wasn't a sky-class master, she still used the pill, so she was still quite beautiful. She also had the elegance and charm of a mature woman. That flirtatious look made Feng Tianlin's lower body burn. Feng Tianlin wasn't in a good mood. It was good to vent it out with Dongfang Xiaotsue. He took a deep breath and took off his clothes, preparing to take a bath. But at this time, Dongfang Xiaotsue's phone rang. Do. If it was any other time, Feng Tianlin wouldn't be in the mood to look at Dongfang Xiaotsue's phone. But today, maybe because he was in a bad mood, he picked up Dongfang Xiaotsue's phone and read the message. Got it, little sister. I've been wanting to send people to deal with her for a long time. Not Weak is interested in her. I'll let Not Weak bring people to deal with her. We'll play with her first, then kill her. The person who replied was Dongfang Xiaotsue's big brother, Dongfang Jinxing. Not Weak was his younger son, Dongfang Bu Shui. His eldest son, Dongfang Bu Shui, died in the Heavenly Elixir Sect's trial. Feng Tianlin knew about it, but he didn't have much contact with the Dongfang family, so he didn't ask much. But at this moment, Dongfang Jinxing's message made Feng Tianlin confused. Who was Dongfang Bu Shui interested in? Who was he going to deal with? What play with her first, then kill her? Out of curiosity, Feng Tianlin read the text messages between Dongfang Xiaotsue and Dongfang Jinxing. However, as soon as he read them, cold sweat started dripping down his forehead. His eyes were spitting fire. The text messages from before had infuriated him to no end. Because the previous message was Dongfang Xiaotsue asking Dongfang Jinxing to deal with Shu Shahan. She even asked Dongfang Jinxing to send a group of Earth-class masters to deal with Shu Shahan. This made Feng Tianlin sweat. Dongfang Xiaotsue. Feng Tianlin's eyes were spitting fire. Although the message wasn't much, it was a big deal. Feng Tianlin's previous thoughts were all gone. He owed Xu Shahan a lot. Plus, as the young master, he couldn't let Xu Shahan return to the Feng family. He couldn't let her return to the Feng family. He couldn't let her return to the family. Now that Feng Tianlin knew that Dongfang Xiaocui wanted to kill Xu Shahan, he was furious. He didn't take good care of Xu Shahan. He couldn't give her fatherly love. He even caused her to be separated from her mother at a young age. Her mother's life and death were unknown. This was enough to make Feng Tianlin sad. How could he tolerate what happened today? While Feng Tianlin was fuming with anger, Dongfang Xiaocui had already finished her shower and walked out of the bathroom. She didn't know that Feng Tianlin already knew about her plan to assassinate Xu Shahan. She even said to Feng Tianlin gently, "Tianlin, it's your turn to shower. I'll wait for you on the bed." "Wait. Wait for my daughter to be killed by you?" Feng Tianlin said coldly. "Tianlin. You. What are you talking about? What do you mean by your daughter being killed?" Dongfang Xiaocui jumped in fright. Her face turned pale. But she still argued, "Tianlin, I don't understand what you're talking about. Didn't we agree that we were going to make out?" Chapter 3059. I. Dongfang Xiaocui was completely dumbfounded. She was actually a woman without a mind of her own. Even if she wanted to kill someone, she didn't know how to hide it. She thought that Feng Tianlin wouldn't see her message, but she didn't expect him to really see it. She didn't know how to explain herself. "Dongfang Xiaocui, I know that you've always wanted to kill Xu Shahan, but she's innocent. No matter what, she's my daughter. She doesn't even know about all this. Why can't you tolerate her? She can't threaten your position, and she can't threaten Feng Shipian's position. Why do you have to chase after her? What Tianhu did before, I'm afraid it has something to do with you, right?" Feng Tianlin wasn't stupid. He knew that Feng Tianhu was behind Xu Shahan's assassination, but it was impossible to say that Dongfang Xiaocui wasn't involved. I'm sorry, Tianlin. Dongfang Xiaocui hated Xu Shahan, but she didn't want to ruin the relationship between husband and wife. Feng Tianlin's words made her feel that Xu Shahan's death wouldn't affect anything. A girl couldn't compete with Feng Shipian for the head of the house, and she wasn't Feng Tianlin's lover either. She was just the daughter of that lover. It didn't matter. But Dongfang Xiaocui was worried about Feng Shahan's safety, so she could only tell Feng Tianlin why she wanted to kill Xu Shahan. "Tianlin, listen to me. I'm doing this for Shahan. For Shipian." Feng Tianlin frowned and asked coldly, "What do you mean? What does it have to do with Shipian? Let's see what excuses you can come up with." "It's like this. Tianhu said that Shipian killed Nitian, and he said that he wants to pay with his life. He wants to kill one of your children before he can be at ease. As long as Xu Shahan is dead, he won't pursue Shipian's crime anymore." Dongfang Xiaocui didn't dare hide anything and said what Feng Tianhu said. What a woman. Feng Tianlin didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but he was more angry. "You believe what he said? Do you have a brain? Feng Nitian wasn't killed by Feng Shipian. It wasn't a big deal in the first place. Even if he killed them, father wouldn't be able to do anything to him. He's the only bloodline left in the ancient Feng family. If he died, our ancient Feng family would be finished. Do you think that's possible?" Dongfang Xiaocui stammered, not knowing what to say. "Tell your brother to cancel this plan right now," Feng Tianlin yelled. "Oh. Okay." Dongfang Xiaocui quickly picked up her phone and dialed her brother Dongfang Jinxing's number. "Little sister, did you receive my message? I told the old man about this matter and he agreed. You should know that the old man doesn't care about his grandson anymore. He is very fond of him. He decided not to send an Earth rank expert and directly sent an early Heaven rank expert. How about it? You should be relieved now, right? Xu Shahan, that little bitch, is dead for sure." Dongfang Jinxing picked up the phone and said excitedly before Dongfang Xiaocui could say anything. Dongfang Xiaocui froze and quickly said, "Big brother, cancel this plan. Don't kill Xu Shahan, don't send anyone." "Little sister, what do you mean? Why did you cancel it?" Dongfang Jinxing paused. "Big brother, Tianlin found out. I don't want to fight with him, so cancel it." Dongfang Xiaotsue still cared a lot about Feng Tianlin. Little sister, I'm telling you, Buqiu already knows about this, and so does our father. He's already ordered to send people, but you suddenly cancelled it. Do you think Buqiu will just let it go? Do you think that father's words are just for show? Dongfang Jinxing changed the topic. I'm sure you know father's character, right? He's a man of his word, and no one can refute his word. Neither you nor I can. Besides, after Buqiu goes, the old man loves Buqiu a lot. Even if Buqiu wants the stars in the sky, the old man will think of a way. Do you think Buqiu will stop just because you cancelled it? You aroused his interest. The old man will make his wish come true no matter what. This. Dongfang Xiaotsue was dumbfounded. She understood Dongfang Jinxing's words. She knew the old man Dongfang's personality very well. Once the old man Dongfang made up his mind, he wouldn't change it. Moreover, it involved Dongfang Buqiu. This meant that the matter was set in stone, and there was no way to change it. Okay, little sister, you talk to brother-in-law. It's just an illegitimate daughter, let it go. He doesn't want the old man to be unhappy, right? Dongfang Jinxing said, if there's nothing else, I'll hang up. You try to persuade him. Okay. Dongfang Xiaotsue was helpless and could only hang up. The room was very quiet, so Feng Tianlin heard the conversation between Dongfang Jinxing and Dongfang Xiaotsue clearly. He was a little lost. He didn't expect things to develop to this point. Now that old master Dongfang had intervened, it wasn't something normal people could do anything about. Unless old master Feng could make a phone call and mediate, there was no turning back. But the main problem was that Feng Tianlin couldn't ask old master Feng for help. Xu Shahan hadn't returned to the family, and she was a girl. Old master Feng couldn't offend old master Dongfang for her. Also, when Feng Shipian was poisoning Nitian, Feng Tianlin and old master Feng wouldn't ask old master Feng for help no matter what. Tianlin, I've tried my best, but my father, you know. Dongfang Xiaotsue looked at Feng Tianlin weakly. Feng Tianlin was so angry that he snorted coldly. You can't do anything right, old woman. Tianlin, I'm wrong. Dongfang Xiaotsue could only apologize carefully. Wrong? What's the use of being wrong? Feng Tianlin waved his hand impatiently and left the room. He was very annoyed. This matter was ruined by Dongfang Xiaotsue, and since he couldn't change it, he had to think of a countermeasure. Chapter 3060. So for this matter, either Feng Shipian did it himself, or he had to find a powerful bodyguard for Xu Shahan. San Huang was obviously not qualified. His strength was child's play in front of a heaven-class master. But Feng Shipian couldn't leave the Feng family. If he did, people who didn't know would think that he ran away. So Feng Tianlin could only help Xu Shahan find a bodyguard through other channels. Feng Tianlin more or less understood Dongfang Bu Rui's personality. This kid was a devil incarnate. If he couldn't get what he wanted, then he would continue to pester others. So, if Xu Shahan didn't have a powerful bodyguard, then she would be in danger. But where could he find a heaven-class master to be a bodyguard? It had to be known that heaven stage experts had their own pride. Which heaven stage expert would be a bodyguard for a singer from the secular world? Even if this singer was the illegitimate daughter of the ancient Feng family, it was still not enough. Those heaven rank experts were all hanger-ons of some clans. Letting them carry out a mission once in a while and giving them the corresponding benefits was enough. But letting them be a bodyguard by one person's side, this was something that Feng Shipian couldn't do. Perhaps only when old Master Feng personally gave the order would a few heaven-ranked elders of the family be allowed to become bodyguards. Feng Tianlin didn't have that power. However, Feng Tianlin had no other choice. He could only try anything in a desperate situation. He knew of a mission posting platform in the secular world. With an attitude of giving it a try, Feng Tianlin filled in his requirements on it. Bodyguard, heaven-class master. The protected target can follow the bodyguard. Move around in the city where the bodyguard is active. Monthly salary of 100 million. After thinking for a while, Feng Tianlin changed his requirements again and again. He tried to make the requirements as loose as possible. He knew that heaven-class masters had pride and temper. It wasn't realistic to expect him to follow behind Shu Shahan as a bodyguard. He could only let Shu Shahan follow by her side. Let Shu Shahan move her work to the city where the Heaven-class masters could move around. This was also a form of respect to the Heaven-class master, and the monthly salary of 100 million seemed like an astronomical figure, but it wasn't high at all. Which family's hangers-on didn't take up more than this amount of resources? 100 million was still a small amount. It's just that he didn't know if heaven-rank powerhouses would be able to see this kind of mission-posting platform in the secular world. But Feng Tianlin was extremely anxious, so he could only use this method to post the mission. After all, in the ancient era, only the blood-clothed Yellow Spring sect could be hired. Although it was possible to hire them to kill people, it was impossible to hire them as bodyguards. However, what surprised Feng Tianlin was that in less than half an hour after his mission was posted, there was actually a response. The phone number he left actually rang. If the possibility of a wrong number was ruled out, this call was definitely from the person who had accepted the mission. This was because this was an infrequent phone number. There were almost no people who knew this phone number. Moreover, a call came in not long after the phone was turned on, so it could only be through the mission release platform. Thinking of this, Feng Tianlin picked up the phone excitedly. "Hello. It's Mr. Shu, right?" A deep male voice came from the other side of the phone. "Yes, it's me." Feng Tianlin was even more excited. Mr. Shu was a surname he casually made up on the mission posting website. It seemed that the other party was indeed calling for this matter. "I can accept the mission conditions you proposed, but the monthly salary is a little low. Increase it a little." The other party went straight to the point. Feng Tianlin also knew that 100 million was really not a lot for a heaven-rank powerhouse, but he didn't have much private money either. He couldn't let the ancient Feng family pay for it, right? So, after hesitating for a moment, he said, "How about 150 million? Okay, 150 million, but I have to add some cultivation resources. Whatever I need, you have to do your best to help me find it." The other party thought about it and agreed. "This is not a problem. As long as you do your best to protect my daughter, finding some cultivation resources is not a problem." Feng Tianlin agreed readily. To him, finding cultivation resources was easier than asking him to pay another 50 million. "Then there's no problem. I'll accept your mission now," the other party said. "Wait, how can I believe you? Are you a heaven-rank powerhouse?" Feng Tianlin asked with some hesitation. It wasn't that Feng Tianlin was suspicious, but things were going too smoothly. Not long after he posted the mission, someone answered, and he even met the conditions. One must know that Feng Tianlin was looking for a heaven-rank powerhouse, not an ordinary assassin. He actually found one just like that. It made him feel a little unbelievable. "I'm not a heaven-rank powerhouse, but the person I sent is a heaven-rank powerhouse in the early stage," the other party said. "Oh, that's fine, but let's make it clear that if it's not a heaven-rank powerhouse in the early stage, I won't fulfill my promise." Feng Tianlin was afraid of encountering a scammer, so he declared in advance. Anyway, although Feng Sanhuang wasn't a very powerful master, he could distinguish a heaven-rank powerhouse. If the other party was a fake, Feng Sanhuang wouldn't confirm it, and Feng Tianlin wouldn't transfer the money to him. "Okay, pay after we meet," the other party said very straightforwardly. "Okay, then how do we contact him?" Feng Tianlin asked. "I will let him call you to set up a location." The other party said, "Okay, I'll accept your mission." After that, the other party hung up the phone, and Feng Tianlin also saw that on the computer, the mission he posted was also accepted by someone. Feng Tianlin subconsciously clicked on the level and credibility of the person who accepted the mission, but when he saw it, he was shocked. The mission completion rate was actually 100%, and it was the highest level crown assassin in the Mission Commission network. Could it be true? Although Feng Tianlin didn't believe that a heaven-rank powerhouse could appear in a Mission Commission network in the secular world, this person didn't seem to be a scammer. Such a high level. With a 100% mission completion rate, there was no need to ruin his reputation because of this mission. After all, 150 million was not a small amount, but it wasn't a lot either. Many of the assassination missions here could reach tens of millions of rewards. Since this person had such a high mission completion rate, he definitely wasn't someone who hadn't seen money before. Therefore, Feng Tianlin was full of confidence in this bodyguard. Chapter 3061. After all, this matter was caused by Dongfang Xiaotsui. Feng Tianlin wanted Feng Shipian to be more vigilant. The only thing that made Feng Tianlin happy was that Dongfang Xiaotsui was an idiot, but Feng Shipian wasn't. Although he looked gentle, he was actually a very shrewd person. Arriving at Feng Shipian's room, Feng Tianlin quickly opened the door and walked in. "Dad, you're here." Feng Shipian didn't feel that being under house arrest was a kind of torture. Instead, he cultivated peacefully. Seeing that Feng Tianlin came, Feng Shipian nodded to him and continued to cultivate. "Shipian, there's something I need to tell you. Can you help me analyze it? What precautions should I take?" Feng Tianlin could see that Feng Shipian wasn't an ordinary person after Feng Shipian returned safely from the Heavenly Elixir Sect's trial. Although he was a good person, he wasn't a good person. Oh, what's wrong? Or is it because of the heaven-defying matter? Feng Shipian quickly stopped cultivating and looked up. "It's like this, your mother, that old woman, can't do anything right. She's causing trouble for me." Feng Tianlin said angrily, "It's like this." When Feng Shipian heard about his mother's actions, he furrowed his brows. He didn't approve of his mother's actions, but he could only smile helplessly and say, "Father, don't be angry. It's not like you don't know that mother is like this. You understood this from the day you married her." Sigh. "Yeah, if I wasn't too weak, I would have rejected the marriage, but Feng Tianlin was a weak person compared to Feng Tianlong. His brother Feng Tianlong rejected the marriage and went to find his true love. This was something Feng Tianlin envied, but he didn't dare to do. But now, it was too late for him to regret. It was too late for him to regret. He could only take it one step at a time. "Fortunately, I have you as my son. You didn't disappoint me." This was the only thing Feng Tianlin was glad about. "Dad, let's not talk about this first. How are you going to deal with it?" Feng Shipian waved his hand and asked Feng Tianlin, "Sister Shahan is in danger. The opponent is an early-stage heaven-class master. Only I can deal with it personally. But I can't leave now. If I want to leave, I'm afraid second uncle won't agree. I can't take it either. This is also what I wanted to discuss with you." Feng Tianlin said, "It's like this, I found a bodyguard for Shipian. This bodyguard is an early-stage heaven rank expert." "What? Heaven rank initial stage? Dad, are you kidding me? How could an early-stage heaven rank powerhouse be someone else's bodyguard?" Feng Shipian suddenly felt that this matter was absolutely impossible, because wasn't it too ridiculous? Which heaven stage early-stage expert doesn't cultivate well? And to earn money from being a bodyguard in the secular world? Even if he had to work for others, it would be to become a follower of a large clan and obtain some cultivation resources. At first, I also found it strange. But the other party said it so confidently. Then, Feng Tianlin told Feng Shipian everything that had happened. When Feng Shusho heard this, he also felt that it was a little strange. He didn't look like a swindler, but I still couldn't figure it out. This matter was probably not that reliable. According to what you said, even if this person is an early-stage heaven rank expert, he is only a loose cultivator. It is impossible for him to deal with an early-stage heaven rank expert from the Dongfang clan. You have to know that at the heaven rank level, the gap between practitioners is very obvious, especially between loose cultivators and practitioners from aristocratic families. You're right. Feng Tianlin couldn't help but frown. Indeed, Feng Shipian was right. How could the heaven stage experts of the secular world be the same as the heaven stage experts of the ancient sects? Not to mention the secular world, even an ancient sect's heaven rank expert was different from a hidden aristocratic family's heaven rank expert. Thinking of this, Feng Tianlin, who had just heaved a sigh of relief, became nervous again. "Then what should we do?" "Shipian, this is the only method I can think of now. It is not realistic to find a powerful heaven rank expert in a short period of time. I have a suitable candidate, but I'm not sure if he'll be willing to help." Feng Shipian hesitated for a moment before speaking. Although he was a little embarrassed to ask for help, he had no choice but to do so for the sake of his sister.
Oh,
who is it? Feng Tianlin quickly asked. Boss Lin Yi. Feng Shipian said. Lin Yi? Feng Tianlin was slightly stunned. Yes. If Boss Lin Yi can make a move, then killing that early-stage heaven rank expert in a second won't be a problem. Feng Shipian nodded and said with certainty, Boss Lin Yi could instantly kill a mid-stage heaven rank expert when he was at the peak late stage of Earth class. Now that he is at the early stage, dealing with an early-stage heaven rank expert won't be a problem. Shipian, can you invite Mr. Lin Yi? Feng Tianlin heard Feng Shipian's words and immediately realized that Lin Yi was the most suitable candidate. A normal early-stage heaven rank expert was definitely not a match for the Dongfang family's early-stage heaven rank expert, but Lin Yi could instantly kill them. Even a higher-level heaven rank expert wouldn't be a problem for Lin Yi. If such a powerful person was invited, wouldn't Xu Shahan be safe? I'll try, but I don't have full confidence. Feng Shipian hesitated for a moment and said. Okay, then immediately call Mr. Lin Yi. As for the reward, we will not miss a single cent. If he has any conditions, just say it. Feng Tianlin quickly said. I'll call him now. Feng Shipian nodded and took the phone from Feng Tianlin. He dialed Lin Yi's number, but Lin Yi's line was busy. At this moment, Lin Yi was receiving a call from Old Lin. Little Yi, I received a mission for you. Old Lin's voice sounded from the other side of the phone.
Oh.
What mission? Old Lin's random words made Lin Yi, who had just picked up the phone, startled. He didn't know what Old Lin was talking about. I say, old man, what are you talking about? Little Yi, didn't you ask me to help you get a mission? Do you want to earn money? Old Lin asked in return, could it be that you don't lack money now?
I do.
What mission? Lin Yi suddenly remembered that he did ask Old Lin to help him get a mission. It was just that Lin Yi had been at ease for too long and didn't realize it.